In the second period, Chicago Blackhawks lead the Boston Bruins 3-0. That game being played up in Boston. The series is even at one victory apiece. Later tonight, and this game was originally scheduled for Saturday, has been changed to tonight. That'll start, I guess, 11 o'clock New York time. It'll be Toronto Maple Leafs at the L.A. Kings. That series tied at 1 game apiece, with L.A. and Toronto both winning overtime games. Last night, Pittsburgh beating St. Louis 5-3, and they clinched that series 2-0. That about does it for the pregame show. I'm Sal Messina. The pregame show is brought to you by Bond Clothes. You get more than savings at Bonds. And by Getty, the company that sells both premium and no-lead. Getty, they've got what's best for your car. This is WNEW, Metro Media Radio in New York, home of the Giants, the Knicks, the Rangers, and the Mets. Tonight's broadcast of the Rangers is a production of Madison Square Garden Center Incorporated.
The mayor is Matt Abbott. Thank you, Sal. And tonight's game is brought to you by Schaefer Beer, by Bristol Myers, makers Smithfield Tennis, by the people of Eastern Airlines, by manufacturers Hanover Crust, and by Miles Laboratories, makers of Alka-Seltzer. The Rangers and Islanders will be on ice in just a moment. We'll be back after this break.
The people of Eastern believe they're going to make your next Eastern flight a great flight.
We don't waste time on the ground, so you won't waste time getting in the air. When your bags are with me, you gotta believe they'll be okay.
Part of my job at Eastern is solving travel problems. If you've got one, call me.
If there's a smooth piece of styrofoam, I'm going to find it and take it.
You gotta believe.
You gotta believe.
If you're flying to Florida, Eastern can give you more than any other airline. With the most daily nonstops to cities in Florida, including Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Jacksonville, Tampa, St. Petersburg, West Palm Beach, Sarasota, and Orlando, home of Walt Disney World. Take a money-saving Eastern night coach to most cities in Florida and save about 20% off the regular day coach airfare. For reservations to Florida, call the travel specialist, your travel agent, or call Eastern, the wings of man.
The officials have hit the ice. The referee tonight is Bruce Hood, and the linesmen are Neil Armstrong and Ray Scapanello. The Rangers and Islanders meeting in the final game of the 74-75 season for one of these clubs. The victor takes the first round 2-1 and then goes on to round number 2. And so there are still several possibilities as to who the winner here tonight, the Rangers or the Islanders, would meet in round number 2.
Here we go, talking about possibilities again, Bob. And right now, with Boston trailing Chicago, if either L.A. or Boston lose, the Rangers or the winner of tonight's game will play Montreal. If L.A. and Boston win, both teams win, the winner of this game will play Buffalo. And if both L.A. and Boston lose, the winner of this game will play Pittsburgh. All games opening on Sunday.
It's a wild situation. I really think the end result has paid off for the National Hockey League. The playoff structure has worked very well. The problem is, though, that no one, absolutely no one, understands the means to the end.
And, Bob, it's funny, you have a scout. In the past, you know you would play the winner of another series. You just go scout that series. And here the NHL clubs have to scout every series. And we'll talk to Jack Riley, a Pittsburgh scout, between the second and third periods tonight. And he's gone to each series. He was at the Chicago-Boston game last night, which he said was a great game. Actually, the Toronto-LA game last night, which he said was a great game. So, very complicated situation, but very interesting for all the fans.
Particularly now with the Chicago Blackhawks in a surprise, leading the Boston Bruins by the score of 3-0 in the second period. The Blackhawks were belted around in that opening game, getting blasted by the score of 8-2. They won in overtime last night. And I tell you, Coach Billy Ray has got to be doing one of the great coaching jobs of the season.
Bob, I thought they would be blown out of the ice even in Chicago last night. They blew a 3-1 lead. So Boston tied it up, and they went into overtime, and they won it. Esposito must be giving them the goaltending they need. And I hear Gilles Gilbert, who's pretty shaky throughout the season, is having a shaky series, or had a shaky game last night.
Rangers and Islanders have hit the ice. Joe Villamure leading the Rangers on, and he will be in net tonight, defending the goal to our left. And Al Auber of the Islanders coming back with goaltender Billy Smith for this third and final game. And the Islanders in the first period will defend the goal to our right. So the Rangers will skate left to right, and the Islanders from right to left. You're hearing it all right here on WNEW, Metro Media Radio in New York, 11:30 on the dial. Tomorrow afternoon, the Knicks and the Rockets at Houston, third and final game of that series, and you'll hear it right here, WNEW airtime at 20 minutes past 1 o'clock. Right now, the capacity crowd here at Madison Square Garden getting to its feet, and we shall hear the playing and singing of our national anthem. Crowd is sky high once again tonight.
Well, they were sky high last night, and Tuesday night we remarked on how we thought it was the loudest crowd prior to a game here at the new Madison Square Garden.
Rangers losing the opener here at the Garden Tuesday, 3-2. They blew a 2-0 lead. Islanders coming back with the 3 goals in the third period. Last night, the romp 8-3 at the Nassau Coliseum, that penalty-filled contest. And here we go in the finale. Jude Druin on the face against John Ratelle as Hood drops it, and it's sent back to the Islander blue line. Bert Marshall throws it ahead for Eddie Westfall, and he shoots in back behind Villemure. Makes the stick stump and holds it away. Swings it around the boards for Gilbert. He's checked by Parise. Ron Harris comes over. He's checked by Parise. Puck is loose back behind that Ranger goal line. Harris falls on top of it, and play is called. Face-off coming up now to the right of the Ranger net.
And Ronnie Harris playing in place of the injured Nick Beverly, and last night a tremendous game for Ronnie Harris. Scored the 4th Ranger goal, hitting all night long, and Nick Beverly still has problems with his leg. That only saw a couple of shifts last night, and I see Harris playing tonight, so it looks like Ronnie will be playing throughout the game.
Face-off deep in Ranger ice. Harris up with it at the near side. Looks to clear it ahead. He does. Rolls it out to center. Taken by the back-skating Lewis. Ahead for Druin. A lead for Westfall, and across the Ranger line. The pass too deep. Vickers gets to it. Rolls it around the board. Parise and Harris come together in the corner, smack back behind that Ranger goal line. Westfall takes, tries to center, intercepted by Vickers, and he starts up with Ratelle and Gilbert on his right. Vickers across the out of the line, shoots in, left side of Smith. Westfall chases it down, takes a bump from Gilbert, and rolls it out of the zone. At center, Vickers for the Rangers. Cross ice now for Gilbert. Gilbert makes the turn, loses control. Lewis bats it back to center. Parise and Harris come together, and neither can get to the puck. Gilbert comes away with it. Flips to the left defense to Park. Park ahead for Ratelle. Holds it away from the checking Marshall. Leads Gilbert. It hits his skate, bounds all the way down across the out of the goal line. Lewis is back for it. Lewis moves to the near side. Takes a check from Ratelle. Throws it ahead to Druin. Druin now a flip for Parise. Parise has difficulties. It's slapped away by Gilbert. Puck still in Islander ice. Now the Islander back line comes up with it, and Marshall moves to center. A flip for the left defense for Lewis, and Lewis loops it in. Left side of Villemure, allowing for an Islander line change. Vickers back for it. Rolls it around now for Kachuk. Cross ice for Fairburn. Kicks it ahead to himself and shoots in. It's slapped down by Dennis Potvin, who sends to center. Sanderson there. Loses on a stick check. The puck still loose. Taken by Potvin. Ahead it goes now to center ice to Bourne. Bourne is tricked by Morant. Loses control. And Kachuk takes. Spins to his own blue line. Kachuk around Bourne at center. Now drops for Sanderson, and he throws it in. Right side of Smith. Smith Knocks it behind the net for Potvin. He caroms off the boards, and it's picked up by Bourne. He's to center with Gillies right. Across the Ranger line, a back pass for Gillies, knocked away. Now in front it goes. Shot on goal from in close by Harris. Is stopped by Villemure, and Greshner comes up with it. Greshner spinning back behind his net, bothered by the stick of Harris. Now cuts to the near side. He's hit there by Gillies. Greshner and Gillies start to go at each other, but play continues as Sanderson tries to lead Faber, and it's knocked away, comes back to center, and it's taken by Marat. Marat puts on the stick of Kachuk. Kachuk spinning, a drop from Marat, still at center ice, and he shoots in. No score. We're 2:45 into this first period. Now Jerry Hart takes it back behind the out of the net. Watched by Kachuk. Shoots it on the right wing for Harris. Harris up to center. Harris looks to lead St. Laurent. Knocked away. Now he shoots in as he is hit hard by Marat, and he ends up in the Ranger bench. Billy Harris was really clobbered by Gilles Marat, and he ended up skates first, tumbling over the sideboard and into the Ranger bench. Overtrain of Frank Pace. Rangers and Islanders are lapping it up right now.
Jerry Hart with a big smile on his face. Actually, he went in head first, Bob. His skates up in the air, and his skates came down on top of Frank Pace's head. I never saw Frank move so fast trying to get out of the way of that one.
Well, there's a memorable moment in the career of Billy Harris. He's all right physically.
And that's where the glass cuts in. There's an angle there. It's just a little triangular corner where Harris went in. He didn't have the room of the full bench or a player to fall on.
All right, face-off now at the Ranger line, controlled by Park. Park cross-ice for Harris. Harris a lead for Stankowski at center. Sends to Butler, knocked away by Howard. Howard tries to clear, gets it off to the Ranger line, but Park there. Ahead for Irvin, hits his skate, comes back for it, back pass for Harris. A return for Park at the far boards. Ahead for Stemkowski, and he shoots it in. Right side of the out of the net. Marshall and Irvin come together. Marshall beats Irvin to it, winds it around for Howard. Howard starts up for the Islanders on the left wing. Moves to center. Right wing, Pete Niceman across the Ranger line. Fakes the slap on Park, then loses control. Puck is retrieved by Park at the far side. He overskates as he's hit by Nystrom. Puck still loose at the far boards. A battle picked off by Marshall. He feeds in close. Broken up beautifully by Butler, knocking it away from St. Laurent, who was stationed in the slot. And now Park hit from behind by Howard, able to unleash it to Harris. And here's Harris out of the zone. Three-man rush for the Rangers. Harris shoots in. A chase for the puck. Stankowski after beaten to it. Irvin recovers the shot. It's a quick save. And a beauty by Smith to hold on. That time a mix-up by the Islanders on the back line nearly cost them.
Bert Marshall sprawl right by the puck. Smith just had his glove there, and Irvin shot it right into it, and he made that reaction, but he made the save that's going to give him that little bit of confidence. That's the first shot on goal the Rangers have had, and we've played 3 minutes and 59 seconds. And Jerry Butler breaking up a play in front of the Ranger end. That play developed because Butler was hanging out in center zone looking to break away on a Brad Park pass.
Ratelle and Westfall on this face-off, keep an eye on their ice. Loose at the circle. Now Ratelle gets it to the point to Greshner. He shoots, stick to side by Smith. Puck ends up in the corner. Ratelle comes over, battles with Gruen, and the Islanders able to clear it out of the zone. Marat is back forward. Marat shoots it ahead. Ratelle could not get to it. It carries all the way down. Left side of Smith. Hart now takes back behind the out of the net. Watched by the forechecking Ratelle. This Ratelle, Gilbert Vickers line had a tremendous night last night at the Coliseum. Here's Dennis Potvin out of the zone. A lead for Gruen at center. Gruen on the rush across the Ranger line. A feed for Parise. Parise cuts into the corner. Now feeds it front. Dennis McCall broken up by Gilbert. Gruen takes it away. Out to the point to Hart. He slaps it. It's deflected short. And Ratelle takes. Parise and Greshner getting involved in front of the Ranger net. And now Marat starts up with the loose puck. Here's Marat leading Gilbert at center. Gilbert up across the end of the man. A lead for Ratelle. He cuts and he shoots. Kick save made by Billy Smith. That's a big save with Ratelle stopped on a breakaway. Now here's Gruen to center. He's up to the Ranger line. Takes a hard check from Greshner. Sends to the corner. It bounces behind the Ranger goal line. Vickers there. Swings it around the boards. Intercepted by Westfall. Out it goes to Gruen. Slap stopped by Villemure. Good save by the stick of Joe Villemure. Rangers can't clear. Gruen tries to keep it. It's knocked away by Greshner. It comes to center as the Islanders change on the fly. Bourne picks up the loose puck. Bourne flies up across the Ranger line. Breaks for the far side. Now holds up. Cross-ice pass broken up by the stick of Ratelle and taken by Greshner, who dumps it out at center. Here's Ratelle with Vickers left, Fairburn right across the out of the line. A drop for Vickers. Vickers breaking wide on Hart. Moves to the near side. Now throws in front for Ratelle. He turns. Could not get the shot on out to Park. His shot rolls wide. On the rebound is chased by Gillies of the Islanders. Slaps it out out of danger, out to center ice. Harris back forward for the Rangers. Stick handles and Bourne. Ahead it goes to Tkachuk. Tkachuk is up to the out of the line. Tkachuk cuts in with Faber in the trailer. He and Hart bump as he moves to the near corner. Tkachuk cuts behind the net in front. Faber and shot. It's stopped. Rebound Sanderson. It's blocked by Hart. Ends up in the corner. Dennis Potvin there. Flicks it along the boards and out of the zone. He counts it off the boards and in the rebound. The Islanders in trouble. Forced to ice the puck. The touch made by Park. And we'll get a whistle on the face-off coming up now. Deep and out of the ice. No score. First period. 6 minutes gone by. Let's pause for this word.
Alka-Seltzer brings you a message from the old one, too.
Well, your first flat in 15 years.
So you're holding up traffic for miles.
And your wife is waiting with your favorite dinner.
Burnt lasagna. We'll be right there with the old one, too. Alka-Seltzer, let's get out of here!
For aches and pains with upset stomach, try Alka-Seltzer with specially buffered aspirin plus antacids. Use only as directed. It gives the old one, too, the old one, too.
This is Marv Albert with Sal Messina from Madison Square Garden in New York. The season on the line for both the Rangers and Islanders right here. Third and final game of the best 2 out of 3, and we are scoreless with 6 minutes gone by first period. Rangers have had the better of play thus far. On the draw, sent back behind the out of the goal line. Lewis there, chased by Tkachuk. Loses control, loses to Tkachuk, slides it to the slot to Faber, and he's dumped down the play, could not get to it. Kept alive by the Rangers, then Gillies takes it away from Sanderson, streaks to center. He's up across the Ranger line, a drive, stick save made by Villemure, lost it momentarily, and then he clears into the corner. Harris there for the Rangers, looks to make his move on Bourne, and he does. Moves along the boards, throws it ahead now for Tkachuk. He's to center, a back pass for Harris, cuts him with a drive. Whoops, save made by Smith, and he holds on. Billy Smith with a sweeping glove did not expect Harris to shoot when he did.
Ronnie got that off quickly, a quick snapshot low. Smith making a glove save in front of his pad, and Ron Harris penetrating twice. That time he gave it to Tkachuk, and he wanted it back, and he used his strength to get through and take that shot.
It's incredible how once again Ron Harris, during the course of playoffs, is a different hockey player. Of course, he had all kinds of injuries this season, but he is a real money player. Chicago now leading Boston 5-3 at the end of 2. On the face, Rangers control. It's sent to the right point. Harris cannot handle it. Bounce over a stick, carries to center, chase for the puck. Harris beats Gillies to it and leaves for Tkachuk. Cross ice off the boards now for Park. Park bothered by Marshall. A stick checks it away, and Marshall shoots it in. Left side of Villemure. Jill makes the stop behind the goal for Harris and leaves for Tkachuk. Now Tkachuk tries a return pass that is knocked aside by Howitt. Harris recovers for the Rangers, slides it out to center, and Marshall is there to flag it down. Ahead for St. Laurent at the Ranger line. He's bottled up by Park, and the loose puck retrieved by Tkachuk. Ahead for Fairburn, checked off the play by Hart. Good play by Hart. He's hacked at now by Fairburn, who knocks it away from Hart. Marshall takes, shoots it out to center to Nystrom, leads St. Laurent and across the Ranger line. Stick handles in, but the backhand of it is wide. On the rebound, St. Laurent crushed against the boards by Greshna. Howard comes over, along with Stemkowski. They combine to freeze it, and play is called. Some words in the corner between Howard, Greshna, and Stemkowski. No developments further than some articulation, and we'll get a face-off now to the left side of Gilles Villemure. 12.5 remaining. First period, no score.
And that's the first trace of any pushing and shoving by a player. We've had some good body checks, but no fighting as we did last night, and that there were many fights last night, about 5 to my recollection.
Now St. Laurent and Stemkowski on the face-off. And St. Laurent jumps the gun, so Nystrom steps in. Off the puck, Greshna controls. There's cross ice from the right. Shoots it ahead now to Stemkowski. Stemmer, a right wing feed for Butler. He's in across the out of the line. Loses on a poke check. Kept it out by Irvin. He swings into the corner. Looks to center. He's taken out of the play by Howard. And Irvin tries to bat Howard with his hand. We get a whistle. And a penalty upcoming. This hit indicates that Irvin took a punch at Howard, which was the case. And the Rangers will be down a man.
Well, if he is, Howard, I'm looking to see what kind of a signal Hood is giving as far as the penalty. It could be a roughing call, but Teddy Irvin going off. It's a roughing penalty, exactly for throwing that fist, as you mentioned.
The Islanders will have the man advantage. 2 minutes for roughing, 7:46. The call on Ted Irvin. Face-off coming up now outside the New York Islander blue line. St. Laurent at center, Howard and Nystrom on the wings. Dennis and John Putman at the points. And a defense from the crowd here at the Garden. Sanderson and Pender in front. Park and Harris are back. On the face, Howard controls to center, eludes Harris, but loses on a stick check. Sent back to center. St. Laurent up with it, shoots in. Knocked down by Villemure. And then he winds it around the boards. Howard and Harris come together. Puck is loose in the corner. It is still loose out to the point to Potvin. His shot goes wide on a deflection. On the rebound, Potvin looks to clear. Cannot. Kept him by Potvin. His shot is a kick save made by Villemure. Just did get a piece of the skate. It's rolled around the boards. John Potvin takes sent back to half and up the iceman. Villemure comes out, stick it aside. Ends up in the corner. Howard is there. He's checked by Harris. Howard turns, throws in the slot. Intercepted by Park. He loses control, but it's recovered by Sanderson. He leads Butler. Butler traces it down. Smith beats Butler to it. Smith out of position. Butler shoots through the net, and it's knocked aside by the stick of Potvin. A race between Butler and the goaltender Smith, and Smith just did beat him. Now here are the Islanders back. St. Laurent from center shoots in left side of Villemure. Played off the boards by Nystrom. Back pass to the point. John Potvin. A high drive is deflected wide. On the rebound, it's Harris for the Rangers, and he guns it all the way down. We have 50 seconds remaining on that Ranger penalty to Ted Irvin. Both clubs make changes on the move. John Potvin back for a man, a regroup on this power play. On the crisscross, starts up with Druin. Now feeds Druin at center. Druin swings to his right side, a drop for Potvin, and he shoots in. Left side of Villemure. He makes the stick stop, leads for Greshner, banks it around the boards, batted back in by Westfall behind the Ranger goal line. Greshner there, swings it around for Sanderson, looks to clear, and he does. Pops it to center ice. Here's a chase between Dennis Potvin and Billy Fairburn. Potvin beats Fairburn to it, cuts into the corner. Now looks to move up ice, accelerates past Fairburn. He's to center. He stick handles up to the Ranger line. A drop for Druin up the right point. He goes into the drive. It is wide right side of Villemure. Bounce off the glass, ends up on the near side. Parise keeps it in. He is bothered by Greshner. Can't clear. Comes to Potvin. In close. Druin knocked away. Puck is still loose. Greshner bats it away from Parise. Parise back forward in the corner now. Rolls it out to the point to Dennis Potvin. His shot is blocked by Fairburn. Taken off by Greshner. And the Rangers break out a 3-on-2 led by Greshner. Moves up to the end of the line. A back pass for Irvin, but a whistle for an offside. Irvin is back. And as he cut in across that Islander blue line, an offside whistle blown, and they'll bring a back face-off coming up now outside the Islander blue line. 10 minutes, 9 seconds remaining in this first period with no score.
Ronnie Greshner with some key defensive plays. One time Westfall had Villemure down, but Greshner coming back to pick up Westfall's stick. Ironic situation on that breakaway by Butler, or the race for the puck. Had Butler touched the puck first, it would have been a face-off in the Ranger end for a two-line or an offside pass.
Now Ratelle is back with Vickers left, Gilbert right, Ron Harris, Brad Park on the back line, and the Islanders make a line change. Andre St. Laurent stepping on with Bob Nystrom on the right, Gary Howard left, Bert Marshall, Dave Lewis are back. On the face-off, controlled by the Islanders. Marshall ahead for St. Laurent. Park falls down. St. Laurent moves up to the Ranger line, but he's met there by Ratelle, who kicks it aside, and it ends up at center ice. Picked off by St. Laurent. Cross ice Howard and across the Ranger line. Back past Nystrom. Shot blocked by Park. Good play by Brad as he starts up away from Nystrom. Moves to center. Loses on a stick check, however, with Nystrom coming back to break it up. And now a two-line pass thrown by Lewis, intended for the cutting Howard. And we get a whistle for offside.
John Ratelle with a goal and 3 assists last night. That itself tells a story, but John is skating so strong. That time Brad Park falling down, Ratelle going in to break up the play. And he's something else this year, Mark. He's never been this strong so late in the hockey season.
Walter Kachuk also showing some signs of coming back strong, because Walter really had his problems the last 6-7 weeks of the regular season, and he looks extremely strong right now. On the face-off, Vickers at the far side, can't control it, slapped out of the zone. Gilbert back forward, circles at center, met by the checking Parise, hacking away as Gilbert backhands it in. It's behind the goaltender Smith, taken by Lewis, whips it around the boards for Druin, cuts away from the checking Gilbert, rolls it cross ice now to Marshall. He's checked by Gilbert. Islanders in very deliberate fashion looking to get it out of the zone, and finally they do. It's sent to center. Westfall with it, slaps it ahead, loses on a stick check now to Vickers across the out of the line with a pass for Ratelle. He tries the back pass, but it's intercepted by Druin. Druin overskates. He throws it away, taken by Vickers. He shoots, save made, lost by Smith, and the defenseman Lewis started to fall on it. Now Smith does. A giveaway almost cost the Islanders.
Parise giving it away, and Vickers with the shot. It's a funny situation. All the Rangers sort of let up. The puck dropped behind Smith. Of course, Vickers the only Ranger in the zone, as both Ratelle and Gilbert trying to come back to back check. And Lewis didn't want to fall on it. Finally, he said Smith fell on it, but not a Ranger within 15 feet of Smith when he fell on it.
We have 8:58 remaining first period. No score. Bob Bowen and Walter Kachuk on this face right side of the Islander net. And it's controlled by Gillies of the Islanders to center with Harris right up across the Ranger line. Breaks wide on Kreshner. An angle shot is stopped by the chest of Villemure. And Kachuk on the rebound clears it out. Fairburn at center leads Paulus, breaking it across the end of the line. He shoots, stick save made by Smith. A great save by Billy Smith, and Bourne able to clear it out of the zone. Marat takes it at center, flicks in, but the Rangers ahead of the play and offside. Well, it's a sharp night thus far for Islander goaltender Billy Smith.
A lot of conjecture about who Al Arbour was going to use in the nets tonight for the Islanders, and he came up with Billy Smith, and he's made the wise choice so far. Billy's super so far. Good saves on Ratelle, had a good save on Paulus, and keeping the Islanders in a hockey game with some beauties.
Kachuk the center, Paulus left, Fairburn right. Marat and Greshner are back. For the Islanders, Bourne at center, Billy Harris right, Gillies left, Dennis Potvin on the right defense, and Hart on the left side. And on the face-off, at center ice, it is Harris and Kachuk. Played by Hart, back at the out of the line, watched by the forechecking Kachuk, slides it ahead, intercepted by Paulus, leads Greshner at the out of the line, goes over the slap, whoops, save made by Smith, and he holds on. Would you like to know how to keep a paper check from turning to rubber? Just apply for Command Credit at Manufacturers Hanover. Now, with it, you get worry-free checking, so if you write a check bigger than your balance, it won't bounce. And Manufacturers Hanover covers the exact amount of your overdraft up to your credit limit, so you are never paying interest on any more than you absolutely have to. That's Command Credit from Manufacturers Hanover. It is banking the way you want it to be. Member FDIC, Equal Opportunity Lender. On the face, high drive by Fairburn. Knocked down by Smith, and the Islanders clear it out. Greshner then shoots it right back in. Right side of Smith. Dennis Potvin is back forward, rolls it around the boards. Hart is there. Hart checked by Kachuk, returns to Potvin. Potvin in traffic, caroms ahead, ends up at center, and Greshner takes there. Greshner's pass battled away by Gillies, recovered by Greshner, back at the Ranger line. Watched now by Bourne, shoots it ahead for Fairburn. A leap for Paulus, he's to the out of the line, breaks in with a shot that deflects short with Kachuk turned around and bumped by Gillies, and a penalty upcoming. Clark Gillies all over out of Kachuk. And the Rangers, for the first time tonight, will have the man advantage.
A fortunate penalty for Gillies to take. Paulus saw that, got that puck at the blue line. When he gets that puck at the blue line, he looks at nothing else but net. Kachuk had to step on Gillies, and he was covering, Gillies covering Kachuk all the way in, but a little too much with the arms, and he pulled Kachuk down.
12-17. Time of the penalty. They are calling it interference on Gillies. Well, in contrast to last night's game, as anticipated, this is a very cautious hockey game, Sal.
Both teams playing it calm. They want to win the hockey game. Fighting is out so far this evening, and here's the first Ranger power play opportunity. Let's see if they can make it pay off.
On the face and in front, Billy Smith winds it back behind the net. Lewis there, checked by Middleton, tries to clear, cannot. Kept in by Park. Park pulls the string, turns on Henning, cuts to the left point. Henning falls down. Now Park leads Gilbert. Gilbert shoots it wide. On the rebound, comes back to Park. He shoots. Save made with Middleton in front. Pushed aside by Lewis. Puck sent to the corner. Battle for it there. Lewis tries to clear. Cannot. Covered by Gilbert. Sends it front to the top. Ripping it by Lewis, who throws it ahead for Westfall. A lead for Henning at center. Henning loses control, and Gilbert takes it back. The Rangers would have to start the power play all over. A minute 20 remaining on that Gillies penalty. Gilbert starts up. Rangers skate left to right. Ahead Middleton. Breaking at center. Back pass Ratelle. He comes in. Feeds in front. Vickers shoots. Save and a beauty by Smith. And he holds on. Billy Smith with another step to the side.
He just camped himself in front of the cage. He anticipated beautifully. Ratelle with a smooth backhand pass out to Vickers in front. Vickers had no place to put it but right into Billy Smith. And he has been sharp in his first period.
6:54. Remaining first period. Rangers and Islanders are scoreless. A minute 11 remaining on the penalty to Clark Gillies. Ratelle and Westfall will go on this face-off now, left side of Billy Smith. On the draw, sent in front. Smith looks to clear, and he does. Park tried to bat it down, but could not, and it carries all the way down. Gilbert back forward now for the Rangers. Gilbert with a drop pass, dangerous pass. Had Henning been another step behind, he would have had an interception in front of Villemure. However, the Rangers move back. Middleton cuts in. A lead for Ratelle, knocked back the other way. Gilbert takes it on the boards, loses on a stick check, and Henning able to slide it all the way down. 45 seconds remaining now on that Islander penalty. Park is back forward. A lead now for Ratelle. Ratelle starts up with Gilbert. Back to Ratelle, moving out center, over skates, has the puck knocked away by Westfall, recovered by Vickers, but a whistle for an offside as Vickers made the touch. He was ahead of the play at offside. They'll bring it back. Let's step out right here and pause for station identification.
Oh, what a great... This is Gene Craven. This, folks, it's so exciting. I don't mean WNEW New York where you're hearing the game. I mean my show every morning from 5:30 to 10. Folks, don't leave me.
Marv Albert, Sal Messina, Madison Square Garden in New York. 6 minutes, 17 seconds left. First period, Rangers and Islanders, no score. On the face-off, Rangers shoot in. They have the man advantage. Hart tries to clear, cannot. Kept in by Middleton. Gets off to Ratelle. Ratelle spins up the near boards, beats to the goal line of Middleton. Middleton tries to center. Vickers could not control Westfall Bears, and he starts up. Shoots it out to center. Intended for heading is too deep, and Gilbert is back forward. Just 15 seconds down on that Gillies penalty. Here's Gilbert out of the zone as the Rangers change on the go. Ahead it goes to Park. Park is up to the Islander line. Park around Westfall. Back pass for Gilbert. Gilbert tries to return to Park. Knocked away by Potvin. Looks to pin it. Penalty has expired as Gillies returns. The puck is frozen at the far corner, and play is called. The Islanders did a very good job in killing off that penalty.
And Lon Henning and Eddie Westfall, as they did here Tuesday night, keeping the Rangers bottled up. The one good opportunity the Rangers did get was on that break with Ratelle being set up by Middleton and then Ratelle feeding Vickers in front. Billy Smith was there.
Now the face-off, right side of Smith. St. Laurent will go against Stemkowski. On the draw, it comes to Marat at the left point. He backs up and then shoots in back behind the Islander net. Potvin there now with Stemkowski. They turn each other around. Irvin comes over to try to dig it loose. But we got a whistle from Bruce Hood. He lost sight of it. And that means face-off deep in Islander ice. 5.5 remaining. First period, no score. Again, St. Laurent against Stemkowski. Someone jumped the gun, and they'll do it again. The linesman, Ray Scarpanello, sets them up once again on the draw. Sent in front, knocked aside by Smith. Dennis Potvin rolls it around the boards. Freshner able to keep in, sends to Butler. Angle drive on the screen goes wide. Flagged down by Nystrom at the far boards. Goes to center. Now up across the range and after the shot, but it's deflected wide, and I believe it clipped onto the post. Shot really was not that close. It was off the outside of the post. The crowd roared. Villamure was surprised because he thought it went way wide. Now here's Irvin to center. Irvin up to the out of the line. Irvin goes in. A drive is wide. On the rebound, it comes back to the right point. Butler cannot get to it. Nystrom does. Nystrom moves it out of the zone, but it's recovered by Kreshner at center. Feeds cross ice now to Marat. Ahead it goes to Irvin. Irvin will lead for Butler. Takes it now over skates inside the out of the line, and the Islanders able to clear it out of the zone. McMillan and Kreshner come together at center. They both hit the ice. Hart works it free. Spins in his own end and shoots it out to the right wing. Nystrom up to the range line with a slap. Save made off the right pads of Villamure. Leaves for Sanderson. Rolls it around the boards to Fairburn. Fairburn starting up for the Rangers. Met by St. Laurent at center. His pass stolen by Lewis. Lewis back the other way. Fans on a pass. Taken away by Marat. Marat goes in with Fairburn. Fairburn across the out of the line with a slap that is blocked by Gillies. And he clears it out of the zone. At center, it's Sanderson. And he dumps it right back in. Left side of Billy Smith. Lewis and Fairburn in pursuit. Hard check by Fairburn on Lewis. Puck ends up on the stick of Bert Marshall. And he sends it ahead. Here's Bourne out of the zone. Nystrom right. And Gillies left. A lead for Gillies. He cuts in. He fakes. Shoots. Scores! Clark Gillies beating Sheriff Villamure between his pads, between his legs, and the Islanders lead it 1-0.
Rangers getting caught in deep. All three forwards going for the net. The play busted up by Bert Marshall. He got the puck out, and the 3-on-2 developed, and Gillies getting the shot from the angle. When you penetrate and all three forwards go in, that's what could happen. Sanderson, Fairburn, Kachuk, all getting caught on a play, and a great goal by Clark Gillies. Good setup by Bob Bourne.
Clark Gillies has scored the game winner here Tuesday night on a breakaway, splitting through the defense. Has really hurt the Rangers this season. And this rookie has come a long way in the last few months. Gillies has put the Islanders on top 1-0. Time of the goal, 16-minute mark. On the face-off, Marshall rolls it in. Right side of Villamure. Chased down by Harris. He winds it around the boards there for Kachuk. Kachuk the lead for Sanderson. Sanderson guns one in. It's gloved down low by Smith. Smith drops it back behind the net now for Lewis. Lewis, watched by the forechecking Fairburn, shoots it ahead. Ends up at center. It's taken there by Harris. Harris spinning, dumps it back in across the out of the blue line. Lewis throws it out to center. Park takes it there. That goal by Gillies, assisted by Bourne and Marshall at the 16-minute mark. Now Ron Harris from the Rangers up to center. A lead for Kachuk, loses control. Gillies slaps it back out of the zone. Harris takes it center, waits for Sanderson to move onside, throws it ahead for Kachuk. Stick handles in, back pass Fairburn, out to the point Park. He shoots, it is blocked by the skates of Marshall, taken by Billy Harris of the Islanders, and he decides to ice it, fires it all the way down, across the Ranger goal line. The touch made by Ron Harris, and we get a whistle for icing.
Bert Marshall stopping that shot from Park. And the Islander defensemen have stopped many shots. Last night the Rangers had 6 goals, but they only had 13 shots on net on goaltender Glenn Resch when he was removed. Bert Marshall played a significant part Wednesday night on Ranger power plays. He came up with at least 3 body saves right in front of the goaltender. They're doing it again. Brad Park taking that shot. That was Tuesday night. Brad Park taking that shot and Marshall getting away of the shot from the point.
All right, Ratelle is on with Vickers and Gilbert. Greshner and Marauder back. Westphal and Ratelle on this face-off now. Right side of Billy Smith. And the story in this first period has been the great goaltending of Billy Smith of the New York Islanders. They lead it 1-0. On the face, both Westphal and Ratelle jump the gun.
And as has happened many times in the past, the great goaltender makes many good saves for his team. His team comes back and scores the goal, and they're up 1-0.
Again, they'll face right side of Smith. Both clubs lining up now. Again, the linesman Scapinella will drop it. He does. Vickers battles with Gruen for the loose puck. Westphal comes over. He's crunched by Marat, but he's able to clear it all the way down. It carries across the Ranger goal line. Greshner back makes the touch. And once again, an icing infraction against the Islanders.
And Marv, it's going to be a close, tight-checking game. The Islanders at their best this season have been in low-scoring games when they can keep the opposition, go ahead of the opposition, and then check all night. They have the players to check. They're a well-disciplined hockey club, but icing the last 2 times in 30 seconds, they're doing it tonight.
On the face, Pickles controls at the far corner. In close, Gilbert, he shoots. It is blocked by Hart. Taken off by Gruen. Up to center, Westphal right. Up across the Ranger line. He slows it up. Now shoots it in front. Knocked away from Westphal. Rolls around the boards. Hart comes up with it. Throws to the corner now to Gruen. Gruen back out to Potvin. His drive goes wide. On the rebound, Westphal keeps it alive. Spins to the corner. In front to Gruen. Picked off the play by Greshner. And Marat picks up the bouncing puck. Ahead to the right wing, Gilbert. Leads Ratelle at center. He's up across the Islander line. In the slot, he shoots a high drive, but his glove juggled and held on by goaltender Billy Smith. So the face-off coming up now to the right side of Smith. 2 minutes, 12 seconds remaining in this first period. And the Islanders lead it 1-0. The goal by Gillies, an angle drive from the right of Villemure that beat him between his pads. The assists at the 16-minute mark.
Again, the Islander defense. Jerry Hart making a good play in front of Billy Smith, pulling the Islanders out of trouble.
On the face-off, Marshall rolls it around. Lewis takes it the near side. Back pass now for Marshall. Marshall spinning in his own end. Throws it ahead now for an ice scrum. He's checked by Irvin as he sends out of the zone. Park takes, loses to St. Laurent in across the Ranger line. A slap shot is wide, a hard drive with Villemure coming out to try and cut down the angle. Lewis able to keep him the rebound. Moves around. Park loses control. Park having a rough first period. Now Harris chases down at the near side and throws it ahead. Stemkowski up to center. Stemmer goes in with a slap that is wide right side of Smith. Maestrom after it along with Irvin. They come together in the corner. Irvin taps it back behind the out of the goal line. Lewis able to cut it off. Lewis and flips it around the board. And it's picked up at the near side by Henning, who dumps it out at center. Howard up with it. Throws to the right wing. Maestrom. Maestrom holds up. Waits for Howard to move onside. Then shoots in as he's checked by Harris. Ends up back behind that Ranger goal. Park there. He's hit very nicely. Park spinning. Winds it around the boards. A minute 10 remaining in the period. Now Harris shoots it out of the zone. A chase for the puck at center ice. Lewis after it along with Irvin. Irvin bats it in across the end of the line. Back pass to Stemkowski. His shot deflects wide. Comes to Butler at the right point, and he did not see it, and it slides out of the zone. Played at center by Park, ahead for Harris, a lead for Stemkowski. Stick checked away by Marshall to the stick of Henning. He's to the Ranger line, left wing feed for Howard. His drive ends up deflecting high in the crowd to the left of Villemure. And play is called with 49 seconds remaining in this first period.
And after Billy Smith has come up with some fine saves, the Islanders are starting to take the play to the Rangers. Getting in for some good shots. Brad Park, as you mentioned, having some trouble. He's playing the opposite side with Beverly out. He's playing on the left side. He's having some trouble clearing. He fell down once on a good play by Ratelle, saving him. Ratelle back checking well.
Bourne and Kachuk on the draw now. Right side of Villeneuve. Puck is loose. Sanderson tries to fall down on it, but it worked free. Greshner comes over it, takes it back behind the net. Bourne and Kachuk come together. Greshner is over there. Kachuk and Bourne combine to hold it in, and play is stopped. Face-off coming up. They move it outside the Ranger blue line.
Bob Bourne taking the initiative in there. He was the man to pin the puck. He was battling Kachuk with it. He had position against the boards. Put his skate and pin the puck against the boards. And
since he was in the offensive zone, the puck comes out to the neutral zone. Bourne and Kachuk on the face now. Half minute remaining first period. Controlled by Greshner. Rolls to the left defense to Marat. Now Marat out of the Ranger zone. Up to center. He winds and fires. Glove save to the left made by Smith. Leaves it behind the net for Hart. Hart checked by Kachuk. Bangs it off the board. Near giveaway to Faber, and Gillies able to beat Faber into the puck and shoots it all the way down. Marat back forward. 15 seconds left in the third. Marat swings it around the board, but it's intercepted by Billy House. Out to the point, Dennis Potvin. Potvin cuts left, throws in right side of Villeneuve. Harris is there. Feeds in front for Gillies. Broken up by Greshner. Shoots it out of the zone. Time running down now in this first period. Dennis Potvin feels back the other way, and that's the end of this first period of play with the score. The New York Islanders won, and the New York Rangers nothing.
Alka-Seltzer brings you a message from the old one, too.
So you're in the carpool and Daredevil Jerry's at the wheel.
Just close your eyes. Try to forget those lumpy pancakes in your stomach. We'll be right there with the old one, too. Alka-Seltzer, let's get out of here.
For aches and pains with upset stomach, use Alka-Seltzer with specially buffered aspirin plus antacid. Use only as directed. It gives the old one, too. The old one, too.
Now over with Sal Messina from Madison Square Garden in New York. And at the end of one, the Islanders lead it 1-0 on the goal by Kirk Gillies, his second of the series, assisted by Bourne and Marshall. At the 16-minute mark, 2 penalties called by Bruce Hood in the first period. Sid Irvin of the Rangers for roughing. At 7:46, Clark Gillies of the Islanders for interference at 12:17. And the shots on goal in the first, Rangers 15, Islanders 8. Tremendous goaltending by Billy Smith in that first period. Kept the Islanders in it after the Rangers were stopped on some excellent opportunities, and then Gillies was able to put it past Villeneuve, putting it through his pads with an angle shot from about 30-35 feet out from the right side. So one complete. And the Islanders lead it by the score of 1-0. We'll be back after this from Schaefer Beer.
Now here's a word from the #1 beer in New York.
Is the one beer to have when you're having more than one.
New York is full of landmarks. The Battery, Washington Square, Shea Stadium. And over on Kent Avenue in Brooklyn, there's another landmark, the Schaefer Brewery. Since 1842, there's always been a Schaefer Brewery in New York. Because New York has always liked Schaefer's way of tasting first beer good, beer after beer, year after year. Schaefer's a beer born and brewed right here in New York. It's New York's #1 beer.
One more time. Is the
The F&M Schaefer Brewing Company, New York, New York. On the scoreboard in the third period, in that surprise up in Boston, the Blackhawks leading the Bruins 5-3. Chicago 5, Boston 3 in the third. Later tonight, Toronto and Ratelle. That series tied at 1-1. They have exchanged sudden death overtime victories there. Pittsburgh swept St. Louis 2-0, so they are now in a hold pattern. NBA playoffs resume tomorrow. The Knicks playing at Houston. In their third and final game, you'll hear it on WNEW, airtime at 1:20. In the ABA playoffs, the Nets at St. Louis. That series tied at 1-1. Kentucky at Memphis tonight, with the Colonels looking to make it a 4-zip wrap-up. And Denver at Utah. Denver leading it 2-1. We are between periods 1 and 2. And the Islanders leading the Rangers by the score of 1-0 on that first period goal by Clark Gillies. And after lengthy negotiations, Sal Messina, after going almost the entire season without having to talk to Tim Ryan, has finally allow Tim to make an appearance here, and I'm glad Tim's here because I know Tim will be delighted to again explain the complexities of what might happen on Sunday, not only for NBC but for the National Hockey League in general, with the many possibilities that can occur. Sal?
Thank you, Bob. I'm glad you brought that up. I feel like I'm invaded by NBC. I have Marv Albert to my right, Tim Ryan to my left. Tim, what's going on Sunday?
I'm almost sorry you asked that, but I can tell you this. We'll be in Buffalo. The exciting Sabres, the French Connection line, and all of that stuff. And really not just to promote our telecast. Obviously, the Sabres have had a great year. I think that it's a good place for us to start our Stanley Cup playoff coverage. We'll be on every Sunday through the entire Stanley Cup playoffs. And Buffalo will be playing one of 4 teams. And that all depends on what happens tonight, of course. You've got the Rangers or the Islanders, and you've got the Chicago Blackhawks in the picture. It looks like, if you could project anything at the moment with Pittsburgh's win last night, that they would play Montreal, but Toronto and Los Angeles are making it sticky. So we really can't say who Buffalo will be playing on Sunday, but it's one of those 4 teams, and you know, I really don't have a preference. Somebody said earlier today, who would you like it to be? Well, I really don't think it matters all that much, because Vancouver, Chicago, the Islanders, and the Rangers, I think it all would provide an exciting game against the Buffalo Sabres, and really, we don't care who wins. I think we'll have a good hockey game Sunday.
Tim, I think if Chicago wins that game, Chicago ends up playing Montreal, or Chicago loses that game, Montreal would play Vancouver. Here's an oddity. Vancouver winning a division would be number 8 in the pool, should Chicago lose and Toronto lose.
Sal, it's just too complicated to go into all of those possibilities, and I'm sure the fans have given up. They're all happy to wait until tomorrow to find out who plays who next.
Now, before we get into, I want to talk about this game, but before I go into so much in the Buffalo Sabres and that French Connection line, I think you have to give that hockey club, Punch him like a tremendous amount of credit for getting other players aside from the French Connection line that really made that team a hockey club, with the Don Luce and Craig Ramsey, the guys who do the work defensively night in and night out.
No doubt about that. I have a great respect for Punch Him Lack. It goes back many years in his days with the Toronto Maple Leafs, and I always have believed him to be one of the brilliant hockey people in the game. And he said when he went to Buffalo that he'd be the first expansion team to win the Stanley Cup, and he included all of the teams that were already in. Well, he didn't quite make good on that promise. Philly beat him to it, but of course the Sabres are younger, and they've got as good a shot at it as anything in the NHL has this year, and it is because he has found those kinds of players you just described. They've got a Rookie of the Year candidate in Danny Gare, but it's the other guys you mentioned, like Ramsey and Luce, and look at that young defense that he's put together. People were concerned about the goaltending of Buffalo, including Punch Imlach, and yet he got through the season with a couple of goalies who were better than anybody expected, but they got great defensive help, and those forwards come back and play both ends of the ice, and that's why they finished where they did.
And you got guys like Perrault, Martin, and Robert who could give you that lead, and then have these guys check for the rest of the hockey game when they're out, or check the best line of the other team. So it's a great balanced team, in my opinion.
It's a great balanced team. I think that a series that certainly is possible is Buffalo against Montreal somewhere along the line, semifinals probably. And I would think that has got to be one of the most exciting matchups that you could possibly put together in Stanley Cup play. I'm looking forward to it. It may not happen, anything can happen, but I think that would be an exciting series.
You know, an oddity about that, Buffalo's taken 9 of 10 points from Montreal this year in their season series. So everybody was thinking the Canadians had their worst problems with New York teams. Actually, the Islanders, not counting the Rangers, I don't think the Rangers beat Montreal this year, but with the Islanders and Buffalo, and both of them play opposites. The Buffalo is a wide-open team. They showed it against the Rangers. The football scores or Industrial League scores against the Rangers.
Well, that's right. Unfortunately, it's cliche, but it is true, because you look back at the records and you find it's true that let the playoffs begin, it's a whole new season. And so I don't think that record the Sabres have against Montreal will really matter very much. It could indicate only one thing, that they would build up a confidence that they could take into the playoffs to play their own game. In other words, without going in and trying to be cautious. If they had split the series and on the downside of the series, they might go in and play a more cautious style than they normally play. I think the fact that they had that record against Montreal would send them in there with a feeling that let's just go with the same kind of thing that we did during the season. And I don't want to tout that matchup. It just strikes me as one that's possible in this very interesting Stanley Cup series, and one that, if it happens, I think will be very exciting.
Going on tonight's game, there was a lot of speculation as to who the goaltender would be for the Islanders. I know I spoke with Dunk Wilson, a goaltender, prior to the game, and he said he didn't think it was the goaltending that lost the game for the Islanders last night. I have to agree with him. I think it was the combination of the Rangers successfully scoring on their power plays and then playing so well defensively and checking the Islanders. But we were quite surprised. I know I was not very surprised. I was surprised that Billy Smith started tonight. How about yourself, Tim?
Well, I was surprised. I asked Al Arbor right after the game in a press conference situation, which is always not the best place to ask a losing coach those kinds of questions. He was very emotionally overwrought about the way the game went last night. And he said, well, I won't decide until tomorrow morning. In other words, he played it safe. He may have already made up his mind, he may not. We'll never know. But I would have guessed that he would have settled on Resch again, because Resch played so well here Tuesday night. And last night, I thought Resch played badly last night, despite all of the other elements in the game. I thought he did not play well. But he is a very cool kind of personality. I saw him after the game. He kind of, shrugged it off, and I would think he'd be ready to play tonight. Where Phil Smith is a much more emotionally involved kind of personality who took the defeat very hard, and while he wasn't responsible for it, the game was already lost. It was as though he somehow had been the reason they lost. And so I thought that Al would probably go with the more cool head who had shown what he could do. So yes, I was surprised. But I'm not the coach. Al Arbor is a candidate for Coach of the Year honors. He's already won the Hockey News award for that category, and I guess that's why he's a coach. He made the right decision, at least from what we've seen so far, because Smith was brilliant in the first period.
I think without Billy Smith, if Smith were having one of his games, or if he was lacking the confidence, he made those 2 key saves early in a hockey game.
Yes, he did. I think the best thing that can happen to a player like Billy Smith, and I think it's true of Eddie Giacomin as well, is that they get a lot of pressure early, that they have tough chances, not just shots, but tough chances that challenge them in the first few minutes of the game. And if they make the save, they seem to rise, and they respond to it, and they play very sharply the rest of the game.
Tim, how have you seen the series so far? I know you've been at all of both games prior to tonight. What are your opinions on it?
Well, I thought after the Islanders beat the Rangers in here on Tuesday that they would win the series last night. Not because they're a better team. I think the Rangers are a better team. But the fact that they got the win in here and were going home and had the confidence build up, the youngsters on that team, knowing that they had now beaten the Rangers twice in the Garden, which I think they had stage fright in here prior to those 2 wins. They came in here and just really kind of fell apart when they got on the ice. Those 2 wins would boost their confidence, and playing at home where they had been tough all year against everybody, that they would win. After their loss last night, I had the feeling, and I still do, that the Rangers would win here tonight. I just thought that the more experienced team playing at home should win the 3rd game in a best-of-3 series. It's 1-0 for the Islanders, who played extremely well in the first period, I thought. But I thought both teams played well. And if I were to make a prediction right now, I still think the Rangers will win, but I think the Islanders' chances are better than I expected when the game started.
That they are, and of course, Billy Smith playing with the confidence, and he made some good saves. The one save on Ratelle all along on the breakaway was a super one with his right pad. Last night, a game that was filled with a lot of fighting. It reminded me of the Philadelphia Flyer game, especially the Philadelphia Flyer New York Ranger game. But because of what we see the Philadelphia Flyer New York Ranger games more often than others. Tonight, nobody's actually thrown a punch. Teddy Irvin's picked up a roughing penalty for just swinging his arm.
Well, I think there are 2 reasons for that. One is that usually after a game which is brawl-filled between 2 teams which are not basically fighting teams, and both of these teams qualify as non-fighting teams overall, usually you get that out of the way and you play hockey the next game. Even if it's not a series-deciding game, which this is, that just adds another element to it. Secondly, I think that the refereeing tonight is better than it was last night. And Ron Wicks has refereed a lot of good games, and I don't want to single him out. There have been other referees who have had bad nights. They average about like the players and the teams do. But I thought that, unfortunately, he took command early last night in a way that was not conducive to a good playoff game between 2 teams like these. Tonight, Bruce Hood, I think, has handled it well. There were a couple of calls that he might have made, but he chose to let them go in the interest of the game, and they were not flagrant penalties, and I think he exercised good judgment. Consequently, both teams responded to the tone that he set, and we saw good, hard skating, hard checking hockey, and an exciting period of play.
Tim Ryan, NBC Sportscaster, thanks very much for coming on, Tim.
Sal, a pleasure to be here.
Marvelous.
Okay, and
Frank Field.
hey, he sounds like he knows what he should be doing hockey so. For Tim, we have a Sony AM/FM Digimatic clock radio. You know, Frank Field, incidentally, is here. No kidding.
Tim, you got to kick out of this. How come he's not with us?
He actually purchased seats. He was given seats. Was he?
He must have been given seats.
But they are in the mezzanine section. He didn't realize that the color of the seats determines where you sit. They are not one of the better garden locations.
He likes blue.
And
he wants to be in the clouds, Marv. He's checking the weather.
Good, Tim. And he asked me if they're good seats. And I said, yes, they're great seats. He doesn't realize it. I said, yeah, you have to have a bench. But he is upstairs somewhere. Does not realize that. At any rate,
great, Marv.
For Tim, we have a Sony AM/FM Digimatic clock radio with different controls, automatic sleep timer. The Sony also has illuminated, easy-to-read clock numerals and a big 3-inch speaker. It's not just a radio, it's a Sony. We'll be back with period number 2 after this from Manufacturers Hanover Trust.
One of life's embarrassing moments can happen anywhere, even at the corner butcher shop.
All right, who's next?
That last steak.
Go ahead, Harriet.
Yes, Mrs. Lane.
That last steak, Henry, was a little rubbery.
Yeah, well, so was your check. It bounced.
Oh, I must have figured wrong in my checkbook.
What's wrong, Harriet? Is Fred out of work or something? Marty and I always lend.
No, this is terrible.
Manufacturers Hanover can take one of life's embarrassing moments out of your life with worry-free overdraft checking. You've probably done it. We all have. You make a small error in your checkbook, and the next thing you know, your paper check is to rubber. But with this system, you can write checks bigger than your balance, and they won't bounce. You can make your checking account worry-free by applying for command credit. You can get something else, too. An easy checking card. It lets you cash your Manufacturers Hanover personal check at over 170 branches. Manufacturers Hanover. It's banking the way you want it to be. Member FDIC.
We're set for the face-off. To get things going here in the second period, it is Joe Villamure to our right, Billy Smith to our left. Rangers trailing the Islanders 1-0 on the face. Rangers control. Ron Harris checked by Drew Druin, and Druin takes it away. Ahead for Westfall. He's to the Ranger line. Cross ice, Parise. Back pass now for Lewis. A shot. Serve made. It is loose. Backhanded by Parise. Is blocked. Puck ends up at the near corner. It is pinned with Hood. And Harris coming together and really stepped down the play.
What a weird play that was, too. The puck was loose. J.P. Parise had a backhand shot and had the entire net, hit Villamure in the arm, and Ron Harrison skating by the net checked Bruce Hood into the boards. Both of them ended up in the corner, and the puck just wound around underneath the two of them. Bruce Hood had to blow the whistle. He was sitting there with his back up against the boards.
And the net behind Villamure was also knocked off its hinges. Wild sequence, and it results in a face-off to the right of the Ranger net. Controlled by the Rangers. Joe Bass starts up. Has Vickers left, Ratelle right. A lead for Ratelle across the out of the line. Takes a stiff check from Lewis. Lewis comes up with a loose puck. Bombed from behind by Joe Bass. Loses to Joe Bass. He bangs at the board. Puck is knocked away there by Druin and cleared out of the zone. Taken by Parise at center and across the Ranger line. Back pass now for Druin. Druin circles to the corner, goes in with an angle shot that is blocked by Vickers. Vickers up to center with Joe Bass that trailed. Stick handles to the out of the line, but Joe Bass ahead of the plate. And offside, they'll bring it back. Face-off coming up now. Outside the Islanders blue line. Opening minute of play, second period, and the Islanders lead 1-0 on the goal by Gillies from Bourne and Marshall at the 16-minute mark.
And Rob, with the score 1-0, the next goal, you always say the next goal, the Islanders let down 2-0. The next goal in that game on Tuesday night was important. The Islanders got it, and they won the hockey game. Could be the same tonight.
Off the face-off, Islanders control. Bourne back pass for Dennis Potvin, shoots it ahead. A battle at the near side. Sanderson works it free, muscles his way across the end of the line, but loses control. Billy Harris takes it back, check from behind on the run, but he's able to lead Bourne in across the region line, cross ice now, back out of by Gillies. Moves bad, set up by Bourne. His shot was off the mark. Kachuk takes the rebound, can't clear. Harris keeps him, throws it off the boards at the near side. Dennis Potvin loses his stick as Sanderson shoots it out of the zone. Picked up that center though by Billy Harris. Breaks around the run at the Ranger line, dumps it in left side of Villemure. Harris hit from behind by Kachuk. They come together. The puck is loose at the Ranger goal line. Backboard Kreshner loses on a stick check. Harris takes, he loses control, then regains, doing a lot of digging. He's dumped down the play by Kreshner. Island is looking for a penalty, nothing called. Puck still loose behind that Ranger goal line, and it's finally picked up by Kachuk. Kachuk out of the Rangers zone at the center. Puts on the brakes, throws it off the boards, but it's behind Sanderson, and Dennis Potvin retrieves. A lead for St. Laurent. Across the Ranger line, breaks for the corner on the right. Then rolls it off the side of the net. Chased down behind that goal by Kreshner. Whips it around the boards. Headed for Faber, knocked away by Hart. Slaps it right back behind the Ranger goal line. Kreshner winds it around again. It is picked up now by Kachuk at center. Kachuk across the red line. Eludes Nystrom. He's up across the end of the blue line. Back past Sanderson. Rolls it in front of the net, scooped up by the goaltender Smith, and he holds on. Let's pause right here for station identification.
This is WNEW New York. My name is Ted Brown, a Ranger fan, and I'm on every afternoon at 4 p.m. Join me. We'll crease your blue line good.
2.5 minutes gone by, second period. Third and finale of this best 2 out of 3 with the Rangers and Islanders knotted at 1-1. Islanders winning here Tuesday night 3-2, and the Rangers winning last night at the Coliseum 8-3. Series even at 1-1 as Stankowski goes against St. Laurent. Face-off left side of Billy Smith. Neil Armstrong drops it. It's sent back to the point. Butler shoots ahead, deflects wide. On the rebound, chased down behind the net by Lewis. Winds it around the board. Nystrom and Park come together and combine to freeze. So play is called, and again a face-off deep in Islander ice.
Well, Park coming in to keep the puck in the zone. Jerry Hart doing the same thing in the Ranger end. And when your wingers are coming back, what's Stankowski and Butler backing up on the other side of the ice, the defenseman is able to do that.
On the face, controlled by Bert Marshall of the Islanders, moves back behind that Islander goal line, loses control. Irvin takes it away. It's hit off the boards, intended for Park, knocked away, and picked off by St. Laurent. 2-on-1, Howard left, they break in on Howard's cross, brings the line, drive by St. Laurent. He hit the post. He hit the right post. Butler now clears it out of his zone. Irvin takes it at center. Returns to Butler, breaks it across the out of the line, trickles it in front for Stankowski, beaten to it though by Nystrom, and Nystrom breaks off ice. Nystrom to center, shoots in. Left side of Villemure, sticks it away from Howard, cutting in from the near boards, and it's taken by Stankowski. A hit for Irvin at center, has Butler right, flies to the out of the line, back past Butler, he's out deep, he winds, he fires, stick save, and a beauty made by Smith on that hard drive right on by Jerry Butler. Nystrom right back. He's to the Ranger line. Back pass Spooner. Return for Nystrom. Sends in front for Howard. Knocked aside by Harris. Puck loose behind the Ranger goal line. Howard and Harris dig forward. Howard dumps Harris and a penalty upcoming. Penalty against Howard. A hold is called, and the Rangers will have the man advantage. Rangers very fortunate just a moment ago on that 2-on-1 side with St. Laurent, and Howard cutting in. St. Laurent beat Villemure, but he hit the right post square on.
I had just commented on how the defensemen were coming up, but that time on that play, Brad Park made the move in the offensive zone and was trapped when the Islanders came in 2-on-1. A bad penalty for Gary Howard to take right now. The Rangers were getting careless in their end, were not making good plays, and he a foolish penalty in the offensive zone as Harris was breaking out on the press.
A hold on Howard at 3-3-6. Rangers down 1-0 on the first period goal by Clark Gillies, assisted by Bob Bourne and Bert Marshall. Rangers have the man advantage for the second time this evening. Ratelle up front with Faber and right Vickers left. Gilbert and Park are at the points. Westfall and Ratelle on this face-off. Controlled by the Rangers in their own end. Gilbert watched by Henning. Slides it ahead for Ratelle. Ratelle up to center. Right wing beat Faber across the out of the line. Hit from behind. Gets it off to Ratelle. Trickles it in front. Vickers bumped off the play as Westfall breaks it up. Westfall now shoots it to center. Faber takes there. Back pass to Joubert. He's up the Ranger line. Back the other way it goes to Park. Park flicks it ahead for Vickers. Now Vickers up to the red line ahead with Ratelle and across the out of the blue line. A lead for Fairburn on the right boards. Goes into the slap. It is blocked by Hart. Fairburn comes up with the puck once again. Cross ice to Park. He lines it up. He shoots. Deflects wide. Vickers able to come up with it. In the corner. Vickers sets up. To the point. It goes to Park. Park back to Vickers in the corner. Vickers in front. Ratelle shoots. Save it. A beauty by Smith. On the rebound. Fairburn looks to keep in. Cannot. Knocked away by Westfall. Westfall to center. Puts on the brakes. Throws it back the other way to Hart at the out of the line. Cross ice for Dennis Hoffman of the Islanders now killing the clock. Hoffman shoots it ahead to center to Westfall. He sends to the Ranger line. Park back forward now. 55 seconds remaining on the Islander penalty as the Rangers regroup the power play. Joubert to Ratelle at the out of the line. Back past Vickers. Not expecting. Park takes it instead. Off it goes to the far corner to Fairburn. Back it goes to the right back for Joubert. Cross ice. Park has the wide open shot. Fakes it in close and step for Ratelle. He's battled up. Swings it off the boards at the far side. Fairburn comes together with Henny. Westfall breaks it up, digs it loose, tries to clear, cannot keep it by Joubert at the point. Cross ice, Park lines it up, throws in close to Vickers off the skate. Shot on goal for the close by Ratelle up the road. That is cut. Ratelle and Hart having words now, something you never see John Ratelle getting involved as he was clobbered in front of the net by Jerry Hart. Then Vickers tried to race to his rescue along with Fairburn. The linesmen step in, and now things have settled down.
Ratelle just gave Hart another shove. Hart thought it was Joubert, and he turned around and pushed Joubert on the play. Jerry Hart coming in with a stick raised to clear the front of the net. Prior to that, Billy Smith made a super save. A pass from Park to Vickers to Ratelle in front, and Billy Smith somehow got his pad on it. It dropped underneath him, and he was able to cover up. And Hart making a good play by clearing the front of the net, preventing the Rangers from picking up that loose puck that was laying in the crease.
Our first serious flare-up of the evening following last night's record of 50 penalties called, establishing a new National Hockey League record for most penalties for both teams in a Stanley Cup game. Previous record of 43-7 last season's final round series between the Flyers and the Bruins. No penalties being called right here. Yes, there are. Now the penalties are being called. Billy Fairburn is heading off. And Dennis Potvin is hit with a charge. Well, the principals are not being hit with penalties. And Fairburn also hit with a two-minute penalty for charging at 5:08, but Hart, Ratelle, and Joubert, who are actually involved, remain on ice. Ratelle stays out there. Now Hart goes back to the bench. And we got a face-off coming up. It's a 4-on-3 Ranger skating advantage right now. Rangers down 1-0. They control the face. Park at the right point. Park comes in, flicks over to Joubert at the far side. Backs up, throws in close for Ratelle. A return for Joubert. Lights it up. He shoots, blocked by Lewis, and it's cleared all the way down. Golf the length of the ice by Westfall. 10 seconds remaining to that Ranger 4-on-3 as Park moves to center. Park slides it ahead for Joubert at the out of the blue line. Joubert cuts to the far side. Now looks to set up. Throws in front. Vickers a shot wide. Now here is Howard back on ice. Buick and Joubert come together at the far side, and Lewis able to clear it out of the zone. So now both clubs down a man with 1:20 remaining on the penalties to Dennis Potvin and Billy Fairburn, and with both clubs even. The Islanders are called for icing the puck as they shot at the length of the ice. So they bring it back for a face-off to the left side of Billy Smith.
Again, the Islander defenseman coming up with a big save on Gilbert's shot. Dave Lewis just sprawling and made an excellent save, preventing the puck from going in. Gilbert walked on the open point, decided to try and drive it through with Ratelle breaking from the right in on Smith, and Vickers in his usual spot on the left side.
Rangers now go with Sanderson and Brutus up front. Marat and Greshner are back. Bourne and Billy Harris up front for the Islanders. Marshall and Lewis on the back line. It'll be Sanderson against Bourne on this draw. 14:08 left. Second period. Rangers trail 1-0. On the faceoff, Harris sends in front. Lewis intercepts ahead for Harris. Billy Harris of the Islanders circles in his own end, gives off to Marshall, and then a return to Harris, who breaks to center. Stopped by Sanderson, who stick checks it away. Now Derek pulls the string on Bourne. A back pass for Greshner. Greshner up to the out of the line. He stick handles in. He cuts to his left side. Tries to roll it cross ice, knocked away by the stick of Marshall. Greshner tangled up. Marshall knocks it out to center. Picked up by Harris, leading up 2-on-1 across the Ranger line with Bourne. Tries to flick it in front, but it's broken up by Marat. Now, penalty is called. A penalty upcoming on the Rangers. A tripping penalty indicated on Ron Greshner. Greshner got himself in difficulty back at the Ranger blue line, and now the Islanders will have the man advantage. It'll be a 4-on-3 skating advantage for 38 seconds.
Billy Harris forcing the play. He's prevented Greshner from making that play in the Islanders zone. Kept pushing the puck towards him. Got by Greshner. Greshner pulled him down, but Harris was able to get up again and skate in for the 2-on-1. And what a play Gilles Marat made with Braun cruising down the center.
Tripping on Greshner at 6-3-0. Face-off coming up left side of the Ranger net. Rangers now go with Sanderson, Marat, and Harris. Greshner and Fairburn in the penalty box. And the Islanders go with Bruin, Parise, Billy Harris, and Kurt Pittman stepping on.
And Bob, the power play opportunities, the Rangers unsuccessful in 2. This is the Islanders' second attempt.
Here's the face now, left side of the Ranger net, controlled by the Islanders. Harris to the point, but it's intercepted by Sanderson. Close to center with a drop for Harris. Harris breaks in across the end of the line. A pass for Sanderson, broken up by Harris. Leads a 2-on-1. Harris around Marat, and we got a whistle for an offside with Parise just in ahead of the play.
Derek Sanderson making the behind-the-back pass. It didn't pay off. Ronnie Harris is a little bit further away than Sanderson anticipated. And the Islanders going in on that play. Parise going offside, but Gilles Marat forcing Harris to slow up as he hit the blue line by just sprawling in Harris's way.
1:46 remaining to that Islander advantage. 24 seconds to the 4-on-3 advantage, because when Fairburn and Dennis Potvin return, it'll be a 5-on-4 skating advantage for the Islanders. Face-off now between Billy Harris and Derek Sanderson at the Ranger line. It's sent to the far boards of Ranger ice. Parise chasing along with Park. Park has to back pass behind his goal line. Marat there comes together with Harris. Marat able to wind it around past Bruin at the point and all the way down. Billy Smith stops it at the side of the net and lays for John Potvin. Now Potvin starts up. Potvin out of the zone. East to center. He's up across the Ranger line. A drop for Parise. Back for Potvin at the point. He lines it up. Cross ice Bruin. He lines it up. A slap shot is deflected high in the air and up into the crowd to the right side of that Ranger net.
And right now, Villemure complaining to Bruce Hood. Billy Harris deflected the puck into the crowd. He's making sure Hood did not know who deflected into the crowd. Villemure talking to Hood about it. Hood consults his linesman, and the faceoff's coming out from neutral zone. And there, the clock, I believe, did not start right at the whistle, and they're adjusting it right now. Villemure was slamming a stick while play was going on, and that's exactly what happened. They're adjusting that clock now to read down the seconds that they lost. They do not only use the clock that's up on the board. The timekeeper also keeps a stopwatch. We have Philadelphia timekeepers here tonight, Philadelphia minor officials, so they know what to drop the time down to, and they're dropping it down to 12:51 remaining, or a minute and 21 remaining on Ron Greshner's penalty. It was about 10 seconds that had elapsed before the clock was started.
In other words, they keep a stopwatch as a double check
in case something like that should happen. And that's how they knew where to go, to what point on the clock to go to during this timeout right now.
You worked as a minor official over the years, right? You handled the clock, didn't you?
I handle it on occasion, Marv. I was used mostly as a penalty timekeeper, a statistician.
All right, here's the face outside the Ranger line. Bruin and Sanderson on the draw. The penalties on Fairburn and Dennis Potvin have expired. 1:20 remaining on that Greshner penalty. Rangers have the man down on the face-off. Potvin shoots in. That's Dennis flipping right side of Villemure. Park after it along with Parise. Park slides it around the boards, but Billy Harris cuts it off at the near side. Harris circles, now cuts to the near corner. Back pass for Parise at the Ranger goal line. He looks to set up, throws it to the side of the net to Harris. Harris back out to John Potvin, watched by Sanderson. Throws it cross ice to Dennis Potvin. Shoots into the corner to Bruin. Bruin looking to set up very carefully. Back to the point to Dennis Potvin. Throws to the side of the net now to Parise. Back out for Bruin. He shoots at it wide. It rolls around the boards for John Potvin at the right point. Watched by Sanderson. Islanders setting up in very deliberate fashion, setting up well. Cross ice Dennis Potvin. Shot blocked, and it's rolled out of the zone. Hoffman chases it down. Half minute remaining on that Ranger penalty. A pass ahead for Billy Harris. Takes a shove from Febb when he slammed to the board. John Potvin retrieves and sends in. Right side of Villemure makes the stick stop, steers it onto the stick of Sanderson, tries to flick it around the boards, but it ends up deflecting to the crowd at the near side, and play is called. 20 seconds remaining on that Greshner penalty. Rangers down 1-0. The Islander goal in the first at the 16-minute mark, scored by Clark Gillies from Bob Bourne and Bert Marshall. A shot from the angle from 35 feet out to the right side of Villemure that beat him between his legs. Beat him between the pads. Face-off coming up now, left side of Villemure. That'll be Sanderson on this face-off against St. Laurent. 11:50 remaining in the second period. Now the linesman Schiaparello leans in, gets set to drop that puck. St. Laurent leaning in now. Now it's dropped, set to the near corner, and Ranger ice parked there. He's hemmed in, loses control. Nystrom stick checks it away. Villemure comes out to wind it around. Fairburn looks to chase down along with Potvin. They both overscape, and Potvin recovers out for the slot. Nystrom to the right point. John Potvin, he lines it up, he shoots, scores! It is deflected in from in front of the net by Dennis Potvin. And the Islanders, with a power play goal, have jumped in front by the score of 2-0. There are only 4 seconds remaining on that Greshner penalty.
Dennis Potvin doing the job, setting up the play, going in front of the net to deflect the shot in from brother John Potvin. Potvin shot low right in on the center of the net and deflected in. Potvin eluding both Billy Fairburn and Ron Harris on the far board.
Here's the face-off at center. Marat takes at the Ranger line. Cross-ice Brickner. A lead for Butler. Overskates. Howard knocks it back the other way. Stankowski keeps it. Dumps it left side of Smith. Lewis winds it around the boards. Nystrom takes there. Looks to move around Irvin and does. Shoots it out to center. Plays his own pass. He's up to the Ranger line. Breaks to his right. Loses control. Marat whips it around. Butler and Howard shoot together at the far side. A check by Stankowski on Howard. Knocked away. It is picked up by Irvin. He loses control. Comes to the point. Shot that be finished wide. On the rebound. Rangers fail to clear. Then Marat gets to it and shoots it out of the zone. Irvin in pursuit along with Lewis of the Islanders. Lewis gets to it ahead for Nystrom. Nystrom with it across the Ranger line. Here's his shot. Blocked by Marat. And he holds on. Play is called. We'll get a face-off now deep in Ranger ice. And right now, with 10 minutes and 50 seconds remaining in the second period, the Islanders trail 2-0. The goal by Dennis Potvin from brother John Potvin, who took the shot, and John Nystrom at 8:26. And right now, the Rangers are playing for their 1974-75 lives, trailing 2-0.
And it's going to be a long road. Billy Smith has been playing super in cage for the New York Islanders, and the Islanders are an inspired hockey club. They have the 2-0 lead. They've beaten the Rangers the last 2 times here at the Garden. A tough checking team, and they're going to be checking real strong for the rest of this hockey game.
Face-off coming up now in Ranger ice. Bruin and Ratelle on the draw. Puck is dropped. Puck is loose. Comes to the point. Marshall a drive. It is deflected short. Sticked aside by Villemure. Chased by Park in the corner. Now Park makes his move on Bruin. Park's stick handle circles away from Bruin, is all over him. Park up to center now. Bruin continues to do a tremendous checking job. He ties Park up at the far side. Park kicks it aside. Off to Gilbert. Leads Ratelle at the end of the line. Goes into the backhander that is blocked. It trickles behind the net. A battle for it there. It is still loose. Parise and Gilbert digging behind that out of the net. Vickers races for it. Picks it up behind the goal. Looks to get it out. He does to Harris. He lines it up. He shoots. Big save made. A pop high in the air. Back behind the net. Batted down by Vickers. Vickers puts in front. Knocked away. Puts in front again for Gilbert. He shoots. And it's stopped by the defense. Comes to Harris at the point. Throws it in. Vickers chases down in the corner. Vickers looks to get it out to Park. Broken up by Westfall. And he shoots it out of the zone. Ron Harris back for it now. Harris holds it away from Parise. Cross-ice pass for Gilbert. Leads Ratelle at center. Ratelle in across the out of the line. Drop pass for Vickers, who's out deep. Back to Ratelle and close. He goes into the shot. Save made off the right hands of Smith. Loose behind the goal on the rebound. Lewis and Gilbert combine to freeze it. And players through. What a game for Billy Smith.
Super save on Ron Harris. The puck hitting him in the arm, bouncing way up in the air and behind the cage. Vickers throwing it back out to Ratelle. Ratelle shooting and going to the other side off Smith's pad, and Smith just slid across to stop a shot by Gilbert. The Rangers come right back. Ratelle a close-in shot. Smith is there. What a game.
9:37 remaining second period. Islanders 2, Rangers nothing. It's the third and final game of this best 2 of 3. And this Ranger crowd here at the Garden now coming alive, looking to urge the Rangers on. Kachuk steps on with Polis left, Fairburn right, Marat and Greshner are back. Bourne and Kachuk on this faceoff. It's to the right side of Billy Smith. They both jump the gun, and Ray Scapanello says, let's get someone else. Apparently he's satisfied with Kachuk. No, he's not. He wants 2 new faceoff men. And Polis and Billy Harris step in now. Puck drop, and we get a whistle once again. They're getting a little overly concerned, I think, about faceoffs here, Sal.
I think somebody else jumped the gun, not the centers this time. They're keeping Harris and Polis in. Both Walter Kachuk and Bob Bourne, who were thrown out as faceoff men, were on the board. They jumped into that circle before the puck was dropped. One of the other officials blew the whistle.
Now they try it again, and this time we get a clean face-off. It's sent to the near corner. Dennis Watson rolls it around back behind his net for Hart. Hart checked by Fairburn, shoots it out of the zone. A chase for it. Bourne up with it. He's in across the Ranger line. Makes the move. Back pass. Harris shoots, and it goes wide. On the rebound, it's played by Kachuk. Ahead for Greshner. Greshner to center. A lead that is overthrown. Hart is back for it now. Back behind the out of the net. Whips it around the board. Played by Potvin, and he shoots it out of the zone. Marat flags it down at center. Back pass for Greshner. Back the other way it goes to Marat. Marat moves up to the red line and then flicks it in. It's to the left side of the goaltender, Billy Smith. Wound around the boards. Polis able to cut it off. He's checked in the corner by Potvin. Polis tries to get out to the point, knocked away, and it ends up at center. Bourne and Kachuk come together far board. Bourne takes it away. Bourne loose on a stick check. Fairburn. Fairburn to the far corner. Fairburn is hit by Hart in the corner. Fairburn looks to get it out to the corner. He goes to Greshner. Greshner back to Fairburn at the far side. He's caught up by Hart. Back past Greshner. A lead for Kachuk between his legs. Fairburn comes away with it. Makes his move on Hart. Throws in front of the Polis. Knocked away. Fairburn is there. Fairburn is spun around by Hart. Fairburn is held, and a penalty upcoming. Penalty upcoming against the New York Islanders. Jerry Hart is headed off for 2 minutes. You know, most men's hairsprays look fine, but how do they feel? Well, you'll find that most of them make your hair feel wet when you spray them on, but Vitalis Dry 3 is different. It's the only leading hairspray that goes on almost dry, and when they do dry, most hairsprays make your hair feel stiff. But with Vitalis Dry 3, your hair feels softer, not nearly as stiff. Vitalis Dry 3. It's the hairspray that feels as good as it looks. It is a hold on Hart at 11:32, and the Rangers, who trail 2-0, now have the man advantage, and the face-off coming up left side of the Islander goal. Ratelle, Vickers, and Fairburn up front. Gilbert and Park are at the point.
Billy Fairburn with some great persistence in that right ball. It's all the way back up and down, giving it to Greshner, taking it back himself, and no wonder Hart had to pull the penalty.
On the face comes in front. Smith looks to clear out. Cannot. Park keeps in. Dumps it back behind the out of the net. Lewis rolls it around the boards. Gilbert flags it down up the right board. He's countered by Westfall. Puck is sent to the far boards. Ratelle takes. He goes cross-ice. Back pass for Park. Goes in with a shot. That is blocked. A sliding block, and a great one by Henning. And it turns all the way down ice. Villemure out to stop it and leads to Park. A minute and a half remaining on that Hart penalty. Rangers trail 2-0. Ratelle to center. Ratelle leads Fairburn, knocked away. Ratelle recovers, sends to Fairburn in the corner. In front for Vickers, knocked aside by the defense. Kept in though by Park. Right point feed for Gilbert. Throws it ahead, but it's broken up again by Westfall. And he clears all the way down. Left side of Villemure. Back forward is Park. A minute 10 remaining there on that Islander penalty. As Park starts up, Rangers go right to left. The feed for Ratelle at center. He shoots ahead now for Butler. It's off his skate. Smith comes out, looks to clear, cannot. Kept in by Park. He shoots. It goes wide. Out of deflection. Park with the rebound in the corner. Park spinning. Looks to set up. Vickers moves back to the point now. Park throws it to the right point out of Gilbert. Swings it on the left point for Vickers. He shoots. It is blocked. It's loose at point. Smith can't find it. Butler does. And Dave Lewis goes right at Jimmy Butler. Starts pounding away. Butler ends up with Lewis and is really crunching him. Butler ending up on top of Dave Lewis, landing some lefts and rights with Lewis completely out of position. That puck was loose near the skates of the goaltender, Billy Smith. Meanwhile, Brad Park gave away Bert Marshall just to keep him aside. And with that loose puck, Butler in on the play was not stopped by Lewis. It was actually punched.
Lewis just kept punching at Butler, who was down on his knees. And then Butler somehow got up, Mom. I don't know how he did it, with Lewis just flailing away. The shot by Park hit somebody in front of the net and dropped at Billy Smith's feet, and he was looking straight ahead, didn't even know the puck was at his feet. The Rangers were unable to put the puck in the net.
Jerry Butler's entrance onto this line really sparked them for the 20-30 seconds that he was set on the ice, and now Butler is set it off along with Lewis.
Billy Fairburn had started on the line on the power play. However, he was on the ice when the Islanders' Jerry Hart drew the penalty, and right before he drew the penalty, as we mentioned, Fairburn was digging up and down the boards for about 30 seconds without stopping, and I'm sure he was replaced by Butler because he was tired. Butler using his power to break through on one opportunity and almost checked Smith on the play. Smith just able to poke the puck out, and Park stopped it just as it was on the blue line and took that shot that just laid at Billy Smith's feet.
We have 48 seconds remaining on the Jerry Hart penalty, and now referee Bruce Hood has handed out, let's see, 5 minutes apiece for fighting on both, and 2 minutes apiece for roughing to both Butler and Lewis at 12:44.
So both of these players will be off 7 minutes. It will not affect player personnel out on the ice. The Rangers right now will have a 4-on-3 advantage for 48 seconds, and then as Hart's penalty expires, teams will be playing at full strength at 5 apiece, and those 7 minutes, those players will not be allowed out on the ice for the next 7 minutes.
Face-off coming up to the left side of the Islander net. Ratelle looks to get it out, but it's intercepted by Henning. Henning to center, 2-on-1, Potvin, left wing, Potvin across the Ranger line to the drive, score! It is a short-handed goal for Dennis Potvin of the New York Islanders, and they now lead the Rangers by the score of 3-0.
Dennis Potvin taking his time, setting up Gilbert, the lone man back, put it through Villamure's leg, and the Islanders doing what the Rangers did last night. The Rangers did it all in the first period. 2 goals to go ahead 2-0, and then score a short-handed goal to go ahead 3-2. I made a mistake, Mom. It's actually a 5-on-4 situation, not a 4-on-3.
With those penalties on Butler and Lewis only affecting Butler and Lewis, so they'll both be gone for 7 minutes straight. On the face-off at center, Rangers still have the man advantage. Gilbert controls. He's up across the out of the line. He overskates at the far side. Westfall takes it away, and Westfall shoots it all the way down. Park is back forward now, watched by Henning. Park circles in his own end. Ahead it goes to Middleton. Middleton cuts back the other way, sends to Irvin. Irvin leads Ratelle. Ratelle is up to the out of the line, looks to split through, and Marshall stick checks it away. Marshall looks to wind it around and knocked aside. Irvin recovers. He loses on a poke check to Dennis Potvin, and Potvin clears it all the way down. Dennis Potvin has really taken over in this game. That goal by Potvin, short-handed from Henning at 12:51. He scored the last 2, and the Islanders now lead it 3-0. And the Rangers are a rattled hockey club right now. Irvin to center. That penalty on Hart has expired. A cross-ice feed for Stamkowski, then a return. Irvin can't get it. Leads a 3-on-1 now with a drive. Save made. Up for Villamure. Puck is loose in front, and Park comes up with it. Gilles Villamure is a rattled goaltender. He has not been sharp. Now the puck sent to the far side. The third and fourth, St. Laurent and Park combined to freeze it. Play is called.
And he's acting as though he's injured. He did hurt his right knee. He got shaken up on that one, making the first save, unable to control the rebound. Here comes Giacomin over the boards. He is going in to play goal for the remainder of the hockey game. Villamure, as I mentioned, hurt his knee last night on this last collision, not prior to it. On the last collision, Villamure got up very slowly, and here comes Villamure to the bench. Giacomin going into the net.
Chance of Eddie from this crowd. Rangers have a long way to come to get back in this hockey game, and Giacomin jumped off the boards here, Sal, to our left. As he passed the Rangers on the bench, he was screaming at them. And from what I could pick up, I'll repeat, he was saying, hey, it's not over.
That's right, Bob. It isn't a 3-goal lead, of course. Pretty tough to come back from it. But a playoff game, you get 1 goal, the other team starts thinking 3 goals is not a big lead in a Stanley Cup playoff game. Although sometimes they say checking in Stanley Cup, not so.
Well, the Rangers have to break this game open. They have to play right open right here, trailing 3-0 on the face. Stankowski rolls it down. It's sent left side of the front of the net. Penalty upcoming now against the Rangers. A battle for the puck at the far side, and Ron Harris is going to be called for a slash. Harris lost his temper, could not get to that lead pass from Stankowski, and I saw him swing his stick, and he's gone off for 2 minutes. Let's break right here for station identification.
Hi, folks. I'm Gene Clavin on WNEW New York, where you're hearing this game. I'm on every morning from 5:30 to 10. Now, I'll tell you what's wrong with the game tonight. There's a...
Gene is always so helpful. And I think a lot of people can suggest what is wrong with the game tonight from the Ranger point of view. Ron Harris off, slashing at 14:20. Rangers are down 3-0, and they build even a bigger hole right here because the Islanders will now have the man advantage. Face-off coming up outside the Islander blue line.
And a lot of pressure right now on Eddie Giacomin. Another goal here could really break it open for the Islanders. He hasn't had a shot on goal yet, and he has to face a power play.
Kachuk and Fairburn up front. Morant and Park are back. On the face-off, picked up by Billy Harris, loses on a poke check for Park. A hit for Fairburn. Fairburn out of Kachuk. Kachuk to the Islander blue line. Kachuk swinging in, looks to split through, loses on a stick check. Dennis Buckman takes it away. He's to center. He's to the Ranger line. A back pass for Bourne. A drive goes wide. On the rebound, it's picked off by Harris at the near boards. Head fakes, cuts to the corner. He's checked by Marat. He's hit against the boards by Marat, but he's able to get it out to John Buckman up the right point. Muscles his way along the boards against Kachuk. Marat comes away and is able to work it free and shoot it all the way down. 1:20 remaining on that Ranger penalty to Ron Harris. Back behind the net, picked up by Bourne. Clock starts up. The Islanders have the man advantage. A lead on the right for Potvin. This is John Potvin up to center, down the center slot. Back to Bourne at the Ranger line. He flicks in right side of Giacomin. Eddie bangs it off the boards. Picked off by Park at the far side. He's chopped up by Gillies. Loses on the stick check to Bourne. Throws it in. Gillies in pursuit along with Marat. Gillies gets to it out to the point. John Potvin sends it front to Billy Harris. Harris bumped from behind by Marat. And Fairburn takes the loose puck and guns it all the way down. 50 seconds remaining on the Ranger penalty. Sanderson steps on there. The Rangers change on the fly. Dennis Potvin after it. Back behind his net. Checked by Sanderson. Winds it around now for Howard. Skating at center on the left wing. Goes into the St. Laurent. Across the Ranger. The Dragon drive. Sends in front. Nystrom did not get the shot off. He was checked from behind. Puck is rolled around the board. Kept in by St. Laurent. His pass intercepted by Greshner. Now Greshner cuts to his left. Looks to kill the clock. 25 seconds on the Ranger penalty. Now Greshner comes spinning out of his zone around St. Laurent at center. Muscles his way across the out of the blue line. Cuts to the far side. Cuts to the side of the net. Flies to center. But he's bumped, turned around back behind the net. Fairburn retrieves. Moves to the corner. In onto the ice. He is checked on the play. Puck is loose. Worked free now by Nystrom. Nystrom to center for the Islanders. Nystrom up to the Ranger line. Nystrom breaks for the near corner. Back past Potvin. John Potvin with a shot, but it's blocked by Greshner. Gets it out to center. Skips by Stankowski. Moves all the way down as Ron Harris returns. Bert Marshall up with it for the Islanders. Deep in his own end. Swings it around the boards now for Howard. A hitter goes to St. Laurent at center. Bridge down on Greshner. Bumped off the play. Howard comes over to pick up the loose puck. He's checked by Marat. Puck picked up now by Stankowski. Marat goes to the ice. And Stankowski moves to center. Stemmer is up across the Islander line. Stemmer cuts in. Here's the shot. It is blocked by John Potvin. And the Islanders break up ice. Led by Potvin. He's up to the Ranger line. Breaks wide on Marat. Now a back pass for Nystrom. A shot that falls short. Sticked aside by Giacomin. Out in front for Drew and knocked away. Comes to the point now to Marshall. His drive is a beautiful kick save on the rebound. Howard gets it out to the right point to John Potvin. A cross-ice feed taken by Ratelle with no Islander in sight. And Ratelle moves to center. Ratelle stick handles down to the Islander line. A drop for Stankowski. Back pass for Urban. Slapped aside. Kept alive by the Islanders. Nystrom who shoots it out to center. After his own pass, moves past Greshner to the corner, tries to flick it in front. Now he does for him. He shoots, saved by Giacomin. It looks very sharp. Stankowski ahead now for Ratelle. Ratelle is up to center. Leads Beverly, makes his first shot tonight. The pass for Urban on the left wing. Beverly is coming against the Islanders. Wait a second. Giacomin and Howard going at each other. And they get entangled. Howard did not want to get involved. Howard did not look to go back at Giacomin. I was not looking that way. With play developing to our left, and Giacomin and Howard started to turn each other around. Giacomin tried to get off a punch on Howard, and Howard was not looking to get involved at all. Now
I don't know who made first contact either. We were watching the line rush up ice, but from the indications, Hood did not blow his whistle when the Islanders had possession of the puck. The whistle was not blown until the Islanders went into the Ranger zone where Howard and Giacomin were, so there could not be an offside call. I mean, there had to be an offside call even though Giacomin left the net. So I don't know if Hood, well, the crowd reacted very, very violently. I don't know who made first contact. We'll have to see from how Bruce Hood pushes out the penalty.
It was an unusual situation because Gary Howard never won to keep away from a fisticuff situation. Did not look to go back at Eddie Giacomin.
Well, Giacomin had his mask on. You punch a guy with that mask on, and that hand's going to hurt. I know Gary Howard is playing with a pulled tendon in his left hand, and prior to the Stanley Cup Series, he had his glove glued and taped on one hand, and that could be one reason. Peter Stemkowski coming off the ice, he could have been hit with a third man in penalty. We don't know. We'll have to wait until Bruce Hood makes the call on the play.
Well, 2:26. Remaining second period, and suddenly things are breaking out. What started out as a cautious-style hockey game has now erupted, particularly with the Islanders in front by the score of 3-0. Right here, let's pause for this word.
We're the old one, too. I get you in the head, and I get you in the stomach. So enjoy your party. Eat, drink, dance until dawn. So you'll be late for work. We'll see you in the morning.
With the old one, too.
Alka-Seltzer, let's get out of here.
For aches and pains with upset stomach, try Alka-Seltzer with specially buffered aspirin plus antacids. Use only as directed. It gives the old one, too. The old one, too.
Here are the Stemkowski, as you said, Sal, is through for the evening. Game misconduct for being third man in. Gary Howard, 2 minutes for roughing. And Ranger goaltender Ed Giacomin, 2 minutes for roughing, 2 minutes for checking. So apparently that fight was precipitated by Giacomin, at least that is where Bruce Hood picked it up, because he was not looking in that direction. In fact, no one was, with play developing up ice in the Islander zone. In fact, at first it appeared, and the Islanders thought that there was a penalty upcoming against them because they did not see the Giacomin-Howard situation develop. So the Rangers lose out on this one all around at 17:34, the top of the penalty.
As you said, Marv, when Giacomin came into the game, he was yelling at his players as he skated past the bench. He, of course, coming from the far end and had to skate right by the entire Ranger bench. He made 2 beautiful saves, one on a shot from the point, and another with Bobby Nystrom in all alone on Giacomin. Eddie last year sort of sparked the team against Montreal and Philadelphia, even though they lost the series in 7 games to the Flyers down in Philadelphia. And Eddie trying to light some sort of a fuse for him, or some sort of a fire for the Rangers to spark them to come from behind in this hockey game. They're down 3-0, 2 minutes, 26 seconds left in the second period, and now they have to kill off a penalty. So, big opportunity right now for the Rangers. Rod Gilbert and Jean Ratelle out on the ice. The Islanders right now, they will not kill off the penalty right away. That penalty will not start until there are 26 seconds left in this period. They'll play 4-on-4 until the penalty to Howard expires, and Howard can return to the ice. The Islanders will be up a man.
Nick Beverly serving those Giacomin penalties. Face-off coming up now outside the Ranger blue line. On the face, Park controls. Now Park flicks off to Harris. Harris up to center. Harris with Ratelle on the left across the Islander line, but a whistle for and offside with Ratelle in ahead of the play. Right now, both clubs are down a man. And when Howard returns following his 2-minute penalty for roughing, the Islanders will have the man advantage. We have 2:15 left in the second period, and the Rangers trailing the Islanders 3-0. Gillies and Dennis Potvin twice. Potvin's goals coming here in the second, one on a power play, one short-handed. John Potvin takes the face. Feed cross ice to Marshall. A return for Potvin up to center. Lead for drawn. It's too deep. It carries all the way down across the Ranger goal line. Ron Harris is back for it now. Harris moves to the near corner. Ahead for Ratelle. He's bothered by Parise. Tremendous checking game for J.P. Parise. Now here's Park to center. Park stick handles it across the out of the blue line. Now Park puts on the brakes. Park cuts to his left. Park circles out to the point. Harris, wide open shot, shoots wide. On the rebound, it carries around the boards and all the way. Parise across the Ranger blue line. Park is back 4. A minute and a half remaining in the second period. Park a lead for Ratelle. It's too deep. Ratelle could not get to it. Comes deep and out of the ice. Picked off by Bert Marshall. Standing back behind his own net. Watched by the forechecking Ratelle. Marshall flips it off the boards for Bruin. Bruin up to center now for the Islanders. Has Parise left to the Ranger line. Cuts to the far boards. Moves to the far corner around Harris, who falls down. That loses back behind the net, and Park comes in with it. A minute remaining now in the second period. Park a back pass that is stopped by Giacomin. Leaves for Ron Harris. Harris comes down, throws it ahead now to Ratelle. Ratelle cross ice, intercepted by Westfall. Westfall loses control, and Ratelle takes it back. Ratelle back pass for Park. Park up to center. Now Park up to the right of the line. Park cuts right. A drop for Harris. Into the slot, Kachuk. Shoots. Stick save made. Rebound cleared. Comes to Kachuk. He is bumped off the play, and Dennis Potvin shoots it up center. Gillies leads a 2-on-1 across the Ranger line. Drive. Stick save made. Rebound. Westfall is off the glass back behind the net. Gillies able to race down the rebound. Puts on the stick of Howard, but he is knocked off the play, and Kachuk having to turn all the way down. Now the Islanders have the man advantage. Westfall up to the Ranger line. Cross ice. Gillies. He shoots. Great save made by Giacomin. Puck is still loose. Comes out to the point to Marshall. Marshall a drive. Stopped by Kachuk. Westfall keeps it alive, but time runs out in the second period of play. That's the end of the second period, with the New York Islanders leading the New York Rangers by the score of 3-0. We'll be back in a moment.
Pacer is a whole new kind of car, and it's at your AMC dealers now. With Pacer, you get the ride, the room, the comfort of a much bigger car. Plus, handling so smooth and stable, you've got to drive it to believe it. And Pacer gives you the wide coverage of the AMC Buyer Protection Plan. See the new Pacer today.
Come and see AMC. Who's got the Pacer? We got the Pacer. Who's got the Pacer? We got the Pacer.
Shots on goal in the second period. Islanders 13, Rangers 11 overall after 2. Rangers 26 shots at Billy Smith, who has been magnificent in goal for the New York Islanders. And the Islanders with 21 against the combination of Villemure and Giacomin are coming in at the 14-minute mark of the second period. In the first period, it was Gillies with his second goal of the playoffs from Bourne and Marshall at the 16-minute mark. And then Dennis Potvin on a power play, deflecting in a shot taken from the point by brother John. John Potvin and Bob Nystrom picking up the assist at 8:26, and then Dennis Potvin on a shorthanded goal, his second of the second period, with hitting, assisting at 12:51. Penalties in the second. Howard for a hold, 3-3-6. Fairburn and Dennis Potvin together for charging, 5:08. Kreshner for a trip, 6:30. Hart for holding, 11:32. Butler and Lewis together, 2 minutes apiece for roughing, 5 minutes apiece for fighting at 12:44. Harris for a slash at 14:20. And then Howard together with Giacomin at 17:34 as they got involved in front of the Ranger net. 2 minutes on Howard for roughing. Giacomin received 2 for cross-check, 2 for roughing. And that penalty served by Nick Beverly, and then Stankowski got the game misconduct for being third man in at 17:34. So the Rangers are now very much with their backs to the wall as the third period upcoming in about 15 minutes from now represents what could be the final period of hockey for the 74-75 Rangers, unless there is an incredible turnabout very, very shortly. 3-0 the score. The Islanders on top after 2 periods. In a moment, Sal will be talking with Pittsburgh Penguins scout Jack Riley. Final score, the Chicago Blackhawks have defeated the Boston Bruins 6-4. That is a final, and so, in an upset, the Blackhawks have taken the series from Boston 2-1.
Bob, Boston had the first game in that series. I've been told that the shots on goal in that game, now this is not official, it's an unofficial statistic, were 51-18. Boston taking 51 shots to Tony Esposito. Chicago scoring 6 goals on 18 shots on Boston goaltenders, whoever it may have been.
That's incredible. We'll have to check that out.
Yeah, we will. That's Jack Riley that just came down from the press box, relayed that information to us.
Okay, now that there is a break in the action right here between periods 2 and 3, a good time to remind you about new Ultrabound Super Dry Anti-Perspirant. Ultrabound Super Dry not only sprays on really dry, it is also more effective in helping stop wetness. That's right, tests have shown that Ultrabound Super Dry will help stop wetness better than Right Guard, Arid Extra Dry, Soft and Dry, and Dial. They're all good, but tests have shown new Ultrabound Super Dry is better. So why not try an antiperspirant that is more effective in helping you stay dry? That is new Ultrabound Super Dry. Between periods 2 and 3, Islanders lead the Rangers by the score of 3-0, and here's Sal.
Thank you, Marv. And my guest in between the second and third period is Jack Riley, who's scouting for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Jack, this is a tremendous hockey game. My opinion, that first period, the goaltenders for the Islanders, there's been some talk about them lately, but Billy Smith, he's a turning point in this hockey game.
Well, I think you're absolutely right, Sal. The first period, I counted probably 7 key saves that he made. It could have been actually 5 or 6 goals for the Rangers, but he came up real big, and apparently this is what happened last night. Their goalkeeping wasn't that great, I understand, but Billy Smith certainly come on. Islanders have played well. They've got a couple of breaks. They've capitalized. They've scored 3 goals every way, 1 short-handed, 1 with the power play, and 1 at even strength. And I believe now that they're not going to become involved in any fisticuffs or any rough stuff. They're going to try and stay on the ice. However, that period, they didn't lay back. They went in and forechecked. They didn't sit on their lead. And the Rangers are really going to have to come up with something here if they're going to come out of it and go on to the next round, because the Islanders right now are controlling the game. And as the Rangers open up, Sal, I think you can notice that there are so many 2- and 3-on-1 breaks against them, which happens. The Rangers have to take their chances. And the Islanders are alert enough to come up with these. And the goalkeeping, hitting the post, and maybe a little over-anxiousness have prevented them from maybe having a goal or 2 more.
Jack, the Rangers have fallen into that pattern, losing to Minnesota here at the Garden, about a week and a half left remaining in the season. They were beaten here by Fern Rivard, who played exceptional in the first period, and then sort of took the play away, and Minnesota came up with a couple of goals, and that was it, and the Rangers had a tough time fighting from behind. That's a pattern, I think. A goaltender being strong in the beginning of a hockey game is so important.
Well, that's right. I feel sorry sometimes to hear the people criticize the Rangers because of not winning, but sometimes you do run up against hot goalkeeping, and that makes a big difference. Last night I was in Toronto, and I saw the Los Angeles Kings and the Toronto Maple Leafs play, and as everybody knows, the Leafs won in overtime. But in the first period, Vachon was called upon to make 7 or 8 big saves, just like Billy Smith has done here tonight. And he made them all except 1, and instead of skating off the ice down 4 or 5 to nothing, they were only down 1 to nothing. They managed to come back and go ahead 2-1. The Leafs tied it and eventually won it. And as I was saying before the game, I think Leafs might be a little fresher out there because they charted out last night after the game, whereas Los Angeles went this morning. And I know players don't get much sleep after a tough game. Your nerves are on edge, and it probably was 2 o'clock in the morning before the Los Angeles Kings could get to bed, and they have that long trip out there. However, they do have one thing going for them. Mr. Vachon is a great goalkeeper, and I'm not taking anything away from McRae in the Leafs net, but he wasn't really tested, and if he comes up bad, LA could win it. It's a hard series to decide. It's a close one. They've both gone into overtime to win. Just as this series right now, if it ends this way, no team has taken advantage of their home ice. And I usually keep statistics during the season. And the team that is playing at home wins 62% of the time. And the team that scores the first goal wins 66% of the time. So if you're playing on your home ice and you should come up with the first goal, your chances are something like 85%. However, statistics are for the birds, I suppose, when the playoffs come along and you're into a new series.
Jack, that's a great one. You know, you also made a statement. In fact, you made it twice. You talked about Vachon making the key saves for LA, although Toronto did end up winning the game. And you talked about Smith making 5 or 6 tough saves. When you're scanning a game, are you looking at that for a goaltender? You know, the count shots on goal. You have to look. The big saves, I think, are more important than all of the shots. You have a lot of shots from the blue line. Occasionally one does go in. But is that something you yourself look for as to see how well a goaltender is playing rather than the total shot?
I don't think the total shots on goal mean too much. I think it's, as you pointed out, the key one. And I don't usually keep them, but I've been intending to keep key saves, and I did the first third. I made it a point to every tough chance the goalkeeper had to handle. And Billy Smith had 7 tough ones. I think Villemure had 3. And they are the big things you look for. And it's surprising what a lift it gives a team. Now, here's a team like the Islanders, who were a little disorganized in the first third. We have to be honest about that. There were plays originating from the boards. One I can think of, I think, was Jude Drouin threw it out to Ratelle right in the slot. And the Islanders don't usually do this. They're a well-disciplined hockey club coming out of their own end. They come up the sides. They don't usually come up the middle where you can get into some real problems. And the Rangers didn't score. The Islanders can thank Billy Smith. And he has held them in there long enough where they've been able to capitalize. And I figure in the course of a season, good goalkeeping will steal 5 or 6 games a year you don't deserve to win. And I'm not taking anything away from the Islanders. They didn't have the greatest first period, but they played well that second. And they deserve to be ahead in the game. Now, whether it's 3-0 or not, I wouldn't say they deserve to be ahead that much. I think it's a fairly even hockey game, but Smith has been the difference.
Jack, you talked about the LA-Toronto series, the game in which you saw last night. That has to be a big series as far as the Pittsburgh Penguins are concerned.
Well, it is now, Sal, especially since Boston were beat. Boston were the 5th seed, Pittsburgh the 6th seed, and LA the 4th seed. So if LA gets knocked out as the 4th seed, and Boston has been knocked out as the 5th seed, it moves Pittsburgh from 6th to 4th and gives them the advantage of home ice opening up on Sunday, which they never dreamed of, I don't think, that Boston and LA would, well, LA aren't knocked out. If they were knocked out, then Pittsburgh would meet the winner of this game here in Pittsburgh on Sunday, if LA loses.
And talking about the Pittsburgh Penguins, they've had an outstanding season, especially at home.
They've had a tremendous record at home. They've only lost 5 games there, and I think they were 35-5, I believe. I know the last 31 games they only lost 1. They've had a lot of balance on the hockey club. They have 9 fellows who scored over 20 goals, and the lines are evenly balanced. The so-called third line of LaRouche and Bob Kelly and Arnes, and I don't call it that, but I read about it as being called that, scored all the goals on in the game on Tuesday night, with LaRouche getting the winner. Great thing for a rookie to come into the league and score a winning goal in his first playoff game ever. Reminds me of Michel Briere, who some people may remember, played for Pittsburgh about 4 years ago, had one great rookie season, lost his life in a car accident in the off-season. Actually lingered on for 9 months, but he lost his life, and he came up with a big goal. I remember we finished second that year, and we met Oakland, who finished 4th, and he came up with a winning goal in overtime out there when we eliminated Oakland to go on and beat St. Louis. It reminds me of him in that they come up with a big play in a big game, which is a sign of a champion.
I also think you improved your goaltending. You had some problems earlier. Oh, I don't know you had problems, but Gary Innes has played well, and then you made the trade with Dennis Hearn, was sent over to Kansas City for Michel Platz, and the only time we saw Platz, he played against the Rangers out in Kansas City and looked very shaky.
Well, Platz has played well, but I think he needed a lot of work, and unfortunately, I think Mark Boyle was going to use him quite extensively down the stretch, and he came up with an ankle injury and re-injured it the other night. So Gary Innes, who's had a lot of pressure on him this year, being a rookie goalkeeper, has played very well, and he did a good job at both the opening games against St. Louis. I think he's come of age. I think he can do the job, and he feels that he's in a tough spot. I know that in speaking to him that he feels it, but he's overcome it, and I think he can do the job for the Penguins. And they have a good defense. They check well in front. And I think they could be a real surprise in the playoffs.
Oh, if they'll be meeting the Rangers and Islanders, it'll be, or Islanders, it'll be quite a series. Jack, what do you look for the rest of this game? I know you have to open up. I'm sure the Rangers have to open up. But right now they're going to have to fight and kill off a power play opportunity. I think there's about 1 minute and 30 seconds left on a penalty to Giacomin.
Well, there's no doubt about it. I think Emile realizes, and all the Rangers do, that they have to pull all out the stops. They got to give it the best 20 minutes of the entire season now, and they have to put it in. I think if they're having trouble making plays going in, they'll get over the red line and fire it in with 2 guys in on the puck. Hopefully, the first guy to take the man, and the second one take the puck and give it to the opening guy. The Islanders know this. The Islanders will be coming back, and they will be trying to get that puck first. But I don't think you will look for the Islanders taking any penalties if they can possibly help it. The Rangers are going to come out fighting. They know that this is a big 20 minutes. And if Billy Smith continues to play the way he has, it'll be tough. But a hockey game is made up of 60 minutes, and 40 minutes doesn't necessarily mean the game. Maybe it will be this way at the end of 60, but we don't know. It's up to the guys on the ice, Sal.
Jack Riley, the Pittsburgh Penguins, thanks for coming on, and good luck to the Pittsburgh and the rest of the playoffs.
Thank you very much, Sal.
Mark? Okay, Sal, right here before the two teams come out for the start of play of the third period, let's send it to Bob Higgins at the WNEW newsroom. We'll be back after this word.
Thank you, Marv. A special report from the WNEW newsroom. The fall of Phnom Penh, the capital of Cambodia, to insurgent Khmer Rouge forces is imminent. U.S. Embassy in Phnom Penh has been ordered closed, and all American officials evacuated from the capital, signaling the abandonment of the nation by the U.S. A statement issued by the State Department says this evacuation is taking place in an effort to ensure the safety of U.S. citizens in Cambodia. The evacuation being carried out by U.S. military helicopters with tactical aircraft in the vicinity in the event they are needed. The total number of Americans being airlifted out is around 150, including about 25 newsmen. I'm Bob Hagan, WNEW News. Now back to Sal Messina and Marv Albert for Period 3 of tonight's Rangers game.
Thank you, Bob. Rangers are back on now. They will defend the goal. 2 hours left in this third, and what they hope will not be their final period of 74 and 75. The New York Islanders will be on in just a moment. We'll be back after this from Schaefer.
Listen to the smooth sliding sound of a country steel guitar. See yourself on a fine summer evening doing what you please, pleasing yourself with the mellow flavor of some fine cold beer. Not just any beer, Schaefer beer. Because Schaefer's the one beer that goes all evening, still tasting like the night is young. The one beer with flavor that never fades glass after frosty glass. Schaefer stays so smooth, so first beer fine that every Schaefer plays like music to your thirst. Schaefer. It's the one beer to have when you're having more than one.
The F&M Schaefer Brewing Company, New York, New York. All our between periods guests receive a Sony AM/FM Digimatic clock radio with push-button controls, automatic sleep timer. The Sony also has illuminated, easy-to-read clock numerals in that big 3-inch speaker. It's not just the radio, it's a Sony. And as we get underway here in the third period, 1:34 remaining on that Ranger penalty against Ed Giacomin that is being served by Nick Beverly. Rangers defend to our left with Giacomin. Islanders to our right with Billy Smith, who has been spectacular. Islanders lead it by the score of 3-0. On the face-off, Ed Westfall steps on, and let's see if they call a too many men on ice penalty. Could tap the puck, and Al Arbor had changed his mind, and let's see what happens right here.
Westfall come out as the puck was dropped to talk to Bruce Hood about something. He is the captain of the team, and it's something the linesman blew the whistle. As Westfall opened the door and made the step out on the ice, Hood had his back to the play. When the linesmen have to look for things like that, blew the whistle, canceling the face-off.
All right, so they dropped the puck once again, and on the drop, sent all the way down and onto the ice. Hart back forth now. Islanders move right to left, Rangers left to right. Hard ahead now for Bourne. Moves to center and shoots in. A bouncer right side of Giacomin. Eddie holds it away from Bourne. Dumps it around the boards. Fabron is after it. Looks to clear and does. Shoots it the length of the ice. Stopped by the goaltender Smith. 1:10 remaining on that Ranger penalty. Dennis Potvin is back for it. Behind the Islander net. Now Potvin starts up. Swings it on the near boards for Bourne. Bourne is up to center. A back pass for Potvin. Potvin down the center slot. Feeds on the right to Bourne. Breaks around Kachuk to the far corner. Now looks to center. He does, but Kachuk intercepts. Ahead for Fabron at center. Moving on Gillies. Turned around by Gillies. And then Fabron loses on a poke check. Billy Harris takes it away. 40 seconds on the Ranger penalty. Harris to center. Stick handles Eddie. Submarine by Park. It goes flying. Puck comes out in front of it. Giacomin puts on the stick of Kachuk. Kachuk out of the Ranger zone. Battles his way to center past St. Laurent. And then holds a back pass for Park. Circles in his own end. 25 seconds now on that Ranger penalty. Now Park in his own end, watched by Howard, throws it ahead for Marat. Marat guns it all the way down. Smith has to make a reeling save. Moves it and drops it to his left for Hart. Hart back behind his net, chased by Sanderson. Rangers trailing badly here, 3-0 as Hart sends ahead for Howard. He's hit high and hard by Butler. The pass to St. Laurent at center. He's in across the Ranger line, loses on a strict check, and Breshner comes up with it. Breshner is sent flying to the ice and a penalty called against the Islanders. A tripping penalty is called. Just as Beverly made his return, the Islanders are hit with a penalty right here. And so the Rangers will have the man advantage. Maybe your hands can tell you what to use on your hair. Spray a little of that hairspray that says it looks dry on one side of your hair, a little Vitalis, dry 3 on the other. Now feel with your hands. The Vitalis dry 3 side feels practically dry. That other hairspray makes your hair feel wet, and when it does dry, it makes your hair feel stiff. The Vitalis dry 3 side feels softer, not nearly as stiff. Vitalis dry 3. The hairspray that feels as good as it looks. It is 2 minutes for tripping, assessed on Gary Howard at 1:39.
And the Rangers needed an early goal to build up their confidence. They have to beat Smith early in this period. Now they have the man advantage to try to do that.
Westfall and Ratelle on the face-off at center, taken by Park. Park cuts straight to his blue line. Then goes cross-ice to Gilbert. Puck rolls off his stick. He recovers and makes the move to center. Back the other way for Park. Park up to the out of the line, loses control. Vickers comes back for. Now Vickers leads Ratelle. It's off his stick. He chases it down, loses control. Arnold has gone clear. Park keeps in. Out to Gilbert at the right point. A return for Park at the left point. He shoots. Save made. Beautiful glove save by Smith. And he holds on with Middleton camped in front of the net.
Billy Smith with that butterfly save and the glove up in the air. The puck got through. Bert Marshall in front did not stop it. Smith saw it all the way in. Kept his glove on. Good save.
Face-off right side now of that Islander net. A minute and a half remaining on the Islander penalty to Howard on the draw set to the right side of the goal. Now Marshall swings it around the boards and all the way down. Giacomin stops it behind the net. Leaves for Gilbert, and Gilbert starts up. Rangers skate left to right. Here's Gilbert up to center. A lead for Ratelle that humps over his stick and rolls to the stick of Lewis of the Islanders, and he clears all the way down. Stopped by Giacomin. He swings it ahead for Gilbert. Gilbert cuts back at his own end and now starts up. Accelerates to center. Leads Middleton in across the Islander line. He cuts in front. Back pass Ratelle. A shot. Save made by the stick of Smith. Ratelle rolls it out to the point for Park. Park back the other way for Gilbert. To the far corner, Vickers. Vickers sends in front. Middleton shot. Stopped by Smith. Comes to Park. High drive. Is off the glass back behind the net. Rolls around the boards to Gilbert. He goes cross ice to Park. Plays it on the backhand at the left point. Park sets up to the corner. It goes to Middleton. In front for Ratelle. Could not get the stick down. It's rolled to the point. Gilbert drive. Left save is stopped at the midsection by Smith, and he holds on.
The Rangers getting the opportunities. The shots from far out. Trying one opportunity in close. Middleton just could not get the puck, and Park had the shot. Deflected in front. Ratelle with a rebound, and Billy Smith with a great kick save with his right foot.
16:53 remaining in this third period. Rangers down 3-0. Third and final game of this 2 out of 3 playoff series, tied at 1 apiece. On the face, Dennis Potvin clears it all the way down. Hits to the right side of the Ranger net. Giacomin stops it for Park. Rangers have a long way back. Ahead for Vickers at center. Leads Ratelle. Ratelle is up to the Islander line. Back pass knocked away and cleared out of the zone. Park is back for it now. Watched by Westfall. Park spinning in his own end. Ahead it goes to Gilbert. Head fakes on Westfall. Makes the turn and starts up. Ahead now Kachuk. He's up to the Islander line. He cuts to his left side with a whistle for an offside, and they'll bring it back. Face-off coming up now, outside the Islander blue line.
This time, there's good work by the Islander forwards. Eddie Westfall and Lon Henning. They one of the top 2 penalty killers in the league all season long. They fought the Rangers off, killed the penalty beautifully. Eddie Westfall just does an outstanding job, and Henning just plays his spot, checks when he has to, gets that point man and bottles him up, prevents him from taking that shot on goal.
And that combination able to kill off the Islander penalty with Howard returning on the face-off. Jerry Hart controls for the Islanders, and it's cleared out of the zone. It is run down by Marat at the Ranger line. Marat now cuts deep in his own end. The Islanders continuing their persistent, their forechecking. Marat stands behind the net, then puts on the stick of Kachuk. Kachuk back to Marat. Marat is up to the Ranger line. A lead for Kachuk off his skate, picked up by Bourne. Bourne is hit to the boards by Greshner. Puck is loose at the Ranger line. Greshner comes up with it. Greshner to center. Greshner up across the Islander line. He's turned around by Hart. They bump each other against the boards. It's sent back behind the net. Dennis Potvin is there. Potvin cuts to the near corner. Potvin moves to the near side. Watched by Kachuk and shoots it out of the zone. Billy Harris could not get the stick on it. It carries across the Ranger line. Marat is there. Shoots it ahead now. Gillies takes at center. He overskates and Kachuk comes back with it. Back past Fairburn. Fairburn to center. Fairburn around Bourne. Fairburn around across that Islander line. Fairburn cuts and shoots. Score! Beautiful move. A solo effort by Billy Fairburn. He carried from center through the entire Islander club. And the Rangers are finally on the board. And we shall see if that turns out to be a big goal. They now trail 3-1.
What else can you say but beautiful on that? I couldn't believe it. Dennis Potvin, Jerry Hart just opened up, let him go through. Potvin got a stick on the puck. Fairburn just got through, was able to pick up the puck again. Billy Smith coming out. Fairburn going to the backhand to put it in. Last night, Fairburn going to the forehand on a similar situation, or more of a breakaway while the Rangers are a man down. And deep goaltender Glenn Resch this time, he goes to the backhand after skating through the entire team.
And you will now hear much from this capacity crowd with the Rangers finally able to beat Billy Smith. For Fairburn, his 10th goal lifetime against the New York Islanders. He's the leading Ranger scorer against the Islanders. Face-off controlled by the Islanders, Dave Lewis. Loses control. Gilbert takes it away. He loses to Bourne. Bourne spins at center, moves past Park, and dumps it in. Right side of Giacomin. 15 minutes remaining, third period. Beverly back for it, and Beverly starts up. Beverly up to center. Beverly shoots in, right side of Smith. Smith then bangs it off the board. Beverly keeps it alive. A pass out intercepted by Parise, leading up 3-on-1 for the Islanders. Parise withdrew and right to the Ranger line. Goes over the shot. Score! Eddie Giacomin tried to make the glove save, and it whizzed right by him to his left. He fanned on the shot, and the Islanders come roaring back and lead it 4-1.
The Rangers down. There's an offside call on the play, Bob. No goal. Giacomin even yelled something at Parise. Rangers gambling on a play with Nick Beverly, the defenseman, going in deep. They are opening up, and Beverly passing it back, setting up the 3-on-1.
The roar from the crowd, now the announcement that there is no goal on that offside. That Fairburn goal, assisted by Kachuk and Greshner at 4:44. On the face-off, Beverly a lead for Vickers. It is too deep. Marshall picks it up. Marshall ahead now for Gruen. This pass shooting by Gilbert. Gilbert goes on a drive. Save made off the chest of Smith. Pops high in the air. Ends up in the corner. Lewis tries to clear it around. Kept in by Park. Park tries to set up Gilbert, but it's knocked away. Picked up at center by Parise. He's up to the Ranger line. A back pass is loose along the boards. No one there for the Islanders. Now it's sent to the near corner. Gruen and Park up together. They both overskate. Parise after it now. Gets it off to Lewis up the near side. A centering feed broken up by the Rangers. Here's Gilbert to center. Gilbert up to the out of the line. Gilbert loses control. Puck is loose in front of the net. Vickers comes up with it. Spins off to the corner. Tries to set up Gilbert, but it's broken up by Marshall. Matthew cuts back behind the Islander net, sends to the far corner, a battle for it there. Bruin fakes, looks to clear, and he does. Shoots it all the way down, across the Ranger blue line, across the goal line. Greshner back forward, both clubs change on the fly. Rangers have really picked up the tempo now. Greshner up to center, around St. Laurent. He's up to the Islander line, hurdles past Dennis Potvin, tries to center Poulos, who is sent sprawling into the corner, hard after it. He and Greshner turn each other around. The puck is still loose. Potvin tries to pin it, cannot. Kachuk is after it, has it knocked aside by Hart. Hart looks to clear, and he does. Shoots it all the way down, icing it across that Ranger goal line, but right back to make the touch, and we get the whistle. Rangers have certainly come alive, but time is not on their side. 13 minutes, 3 seconds remaining, third period, and the Islanders lead at 3-1.
And the Islanders going to play ice the puck situation, hard icing it then. Prior to that, Potvin tried to ice it down the other side. Marat got a glove on it, nullifying the ice, and the puck did go down. The Rangers coming in. Poulos losing his stick in his own, and the puck actually came to him. He tried to pick up his stick. By that time, the Islanders checked it off him.
It is Brandon Kachuk now on this face-off to the left side of the Islander net. Kachuk, the center for Poulos and Faber. And Marat are back. A tremendous ending to what has been a tremendous series. Off the face, puck loose at the circle. Gillies controls for the Islanders and clears it out of the zone. Billy Harris takes it at center. He's bumped off the play. Puck is loose now at the Ranger line. Greshner back forward. Ahead it goes to Kachuk. Kachuk spinning at center. Back past Greshner. He carries and then shoots one. Stick save made by Smith. It bounced to the near board. Kachuk can't keep it. Has to move to center. He's bothered by Bourne. Now Kachuk spins. Back past Greshner. Greshner rolls it in. Rangers desperately want that second goal, which would change this game around completely. Puck loose back behind the Islander net. Dennis Potvin feeds ahead for Gillies, and Gillies clears it out. Marat stops it at center. Here's Marat. Running on in, left side of Smith. Gillies after it now. It's all Rangers here, third period. Gillies finds it around. Poulos and Dennis Potvin come together at the far side. Bourne is over there now. Potvin able to work it free. Potvin maneuvers back behind the net. He's tied up. Poulos takes it away. Poulos moves to the far corner. He's checked there by Bourne. Bourne pushes it along the boards. Then Potvin works it free. Winds it around. Gillies and Greshner come together. Gillies able to slap it out of the zone. 12 minutes remaining, third period. Fairburn from center. Up across the Islander line. Shoots one right side of the net. It is gobbled up by Smith, and he decides to hold on to stop play. Let's pause right here for this message.
Alka-Seltzer brings you a message from the old one, too.
Well, your first flat in 15 years.
So you're holding up traffic.
And your wife is waiting with your favorite dinner.
Burnt lasagna. We'll be right there with the old one, too. Alka-Seltzer, let's get out of here! For aches and pains with upset stomach, try Alka-Seltzer with specially buffered aspirin plus antacids. Use only as directed. It gives the old one, too, the old one, too.
Face off now, right side of the Islander net. Sanderson and St. Laurent on the draw. Sent in front of the net, knocked behind the goal. Middleton can't control. Marshall winds it around, and Howard dumps it back at center. Beverly takes it there for the Rangers. Loses on a poke check to St. Laurent. He's in across the Ranger line. A drive stick save made by Giacomin. Sanderson on the rebound, whips it off the boards. The Middleton and the Rangers start up. Middleton to center, caught from behind by St. Laurent, who poke checks it away. He shoots it in, left side of Giacomin. Beverly back forward now, winds it around for Middleton. Middleton looks to start up. He's stopped by Lewis, dumps it right back in. Clark after it along with Howard. They come together. Howard slaps it around the board. Nystrom after it now. Nystrom cuts to the near side. Out to the point it goes to Lewis. He turns and shoots. It's blocked by the skate of Beverly. Kept in by St. Laurent. Throws it out to the point. Intercepted by Middleton. To Irvin on the left wing. Irvin carries across the Islander line. Angled drive. It's wide on the rebound. It comes flying to the near side. Howard looks to clear, and he cannot. Greshner keeps in. Then he's checked on the play. Now stick check by Lewis. Shoots it all the way down. Across the Ranger goal line. Back for Marat. And he makes the touch. We got a whistle for icing. 10:51. Remaining third period. Islanders lead 3-1 on two goals by Dennis Potvin. One on a power play, one short-handed. Clark Gillies scored the other. And here in the third, Billy Faber on a great individual effort, assisted by Kachuk and Greshner at 4-4-4.
And Bob, that gave them the life, but they've gone 5 minutes without scoring another goal. They've been putting the pressure on the Islanders, except for this last shift. The defensive Ron Greshner making a good effort keeping the puck in with 3 Islanders around him, and the Islanders finally ice the puck. The face-off to the left of Smith right now.
It'll be Ratelle and Westfall on the draw as linesman Neil Armstrong gets set to drop the puck. Ratelle on with Vickers and Jobert. Kreshner and Marat are back. Here's the face, controlled by the analyst Hart. Winds it around for Druin. Knocked away, though, by Marat. Dumps it right back in. Dennis Hoffman backboard behind the out of the net. Falls down. Ratelle tries to work it free. Hart comes over. Now Hoffman falls on the puck, and play is stopped. We'll get a face-off deep in Islander ice. Rangers looking for a delay of game penalty, but it is not goal.
Play. Potvin trying to get the puck, almost pulled it underneath him. It did not get underneath him. Gilbert played it. Then Potvin fell on top of it. If Gilbert had not played it the first time, you may have gotten that delay of penalty call.
Here's Ratelle and Westfall again, lining up for the face-off. Circle to the left side of goaltender Billy Smith. Puck is dropped. Sent back behind the Islander goal. Hart and Ratelle chase. Hart comes up with it. Hart looks to clear on it. He does. Sends the Westfall at center, and he slaps one in. Right side of the Ranger net. Gilbert and Parise come together. Hart able to keep in. Sends behind the Ranger goal line. Gilbert in a battle there with Druin. Druin kicks it off to the near corner. They continue to turn each other around, and a hard check by Marat on Druin. Marat works it free, winds it around the board. Westfall takes, shoots it in front. Sprawling save made by Giacomin. And Kreshner wrestles it free, moves back behind his net. We now have 10 minutes remaining, third period, and the Rangers down 3-1. Here's Ratelle starting up. Has to put on the brakes. Goes cross ice for Marat. Marat in delivered fashion to center. Ahead for Ratelle. Loses control, and Hart takes it away. Sends to center. Marat back forward now. Marat backskates in his own end. Ahead for Kreshner. Wheeling out center ice now. He leads Ratelle at the out of the line. Ratelle cuts to the far board. Throws it ahead for Vickers. Chases it down. Centers for Kreshner. Lines it up. Shoots. And it goes wide. On the rebound of Ratelle at the far side. He goes cross ice. Gilbert could not handle it. Druin does. Druin is hemmed in by Kreshner. Kreshner and Gilbert battling with Druin in the corner. And finally Druin works it free and shoots it all the way down. Marat back forward now at center. Ahead for Kreshner. Kreshner makes the turn. Kreshner ahead for Tkachuk as the Rangers change on the go. Tkachuk press to slip the pass for Irvin. Broken up by Westfall. Then Tkachuk sends back behind the out of the net. And as Potvin rolls it around, Gillies and Fairburn come together in the corner. Fairburn works it free. Fairburn cuts in front. A pass to Tkachuk, knocked away, and then covered up by the goaltender, Billy Smith. And that will make four. A face-off deep in Islander ice. You know, only Eastern has air shuttle service to Boston and Washington, leaving for Boston every hour on the hour from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. and to Washington from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. You can board the air shuttle at LaGuardia and be guaranteed a seat with no advance reservation. And from Newark, Eastern has a convenient schedule of reserved seat nonstops to both Boston and Washington. For reservations from Newark to Boston or Washington, call the travel specialist, your travel agent, or call Eastern, the Wings of Man. Here's the face-off, deep and out under ice. Loose at the circle, still loose, goes up in the air. Fairburn backs it down, sends to the corner to Irvin. Irvin looks to set up, back behind the out of the net. He is decked on the play, now works it free. In front, Fairburn shot blocked. Irvin with the rebound on the corner. Irvin throws it in front. Fairburn and Tkachuk could not get the stick down. Beverly gives a lot back past Tkachuk. He shoots, it is blocked. Tkachuk takes it back. Back skates away from Bourne. Rolls in close to Fairburn. He shoots. It is blocked by Lewis. Fairburn after it in the corner. Takes a good check from Gillies. Gets it off to Irvin. Irvin rolls it in front, but it goes wide. Beverly up with it. His pass deflects out of the zone off the stick of Billy Harris. Rangers putting tremendous pressure on Billy Smith now. A lot of blocked shots by that Islander back line. Now Park in his own end. Bothered by Harris. Goes cross ice to Beverly. Ahead now for Tkachuk. Right wing beat Fairburn. He's to the out of the line. He breaks into the corner. Rolls in close to Irvin. He's bumped off the play. Irvin with a back pass to Park. Broken up by Howard, who clears it out of the zone. Billy Harris picks it up at center for the Islanders. Moving it up Beverly up the Ranger line. Has it trailer. It's St. Laurent. Gives to him. His shot is a stick save by Giacomin. Now Sanderson starts up with it. Sanderson to center, throws it too far ahead of him, and it's knocked the other way by Marshall. And Sanderson rolls it in, allowing for line changes by both clubs. St. Laurent dumps it out of the zone. Played up center by Kreshner. Kreshner looks to set up Sanderson, but it's knocked away. Sanderson then recovers. Leads Polis. Back past Middleton. Middleton cuts in. He's bumped off the play. Polis and Hart come together at the far corner. Now St. Laurent comes over. Falls on the puck. Middleton looks to work it free. Polis does. Howard after it at the far corner. Howard comes up with the loose puck, and Howard clears it all the way down. It's stopped in front of the net by Giacomin. Giacomin sends out to center, intended for Kreshner, but the pass off the mark. Middleton recovers. He's in across the out of the net. 1-3, flipped on the play, hits off the shot, but short, and a penalty call. Middleton was hauled down. He was hooked on the play, and the Rangers will have the man advantage right here. They are down 3-1, 7 minutes, 13 seconds without a third period.
Middleton with the move that he's been doing all year, almost got through. Jerry Hart pulled him down, picked up the penalty. He did not get through for the shot. However, he did draw the penalty, and this is it. This is a power play the Rangers have to score on, or else forget about the season.
12:47, time of the hook on Jerry Hart. No question, Sal. When we look back at this game, win or lose from the Ranger or Islander point of view, this will be the sequence that they'll be talking about. 7:13 remaining, third period. Rangers down 3-1. They have the face-off deep and out of the ice. On the draw, loose at the face-off circle, taken by Henning, and he clears all the way down. Giacomin stops it, comes out, leaves it for Gilbert to his right side, and Gilbert starts up. Gilbert out of the zone. Gilbert to center, leaves Ratelle. Ahead for Vickers across the out of the line. Vickers back past the park at the left point. He sets up. Now throws to the corner to Vickers. Back it goes to Gilbert. Gilbert leads Middleton in close. He goes over the drive. Save made. Loose in front. And then it's cleared by the Islanders into the crowd at the near side. That puck popped high in the air. Ratelle lifted the stick, as did several of the Islanders, and it was deflected to the crowd.
That was Billy Smith who actually batted it into the crowd, Marv. He made the save. It went up in the air. He and Ratelle swinging for it, and Smith with the big stick, the big fat part of the stick, batted it away and up into the crowd.
Face-off left side of Smith, Westmoreland, Ratelle on this draw. Linesman Armstrong getting set to drop the puck. Again, someone jumped the gun. Now puck drop, sent to the corner and out of the ice. Lewis after it for the Islanders, batted up by Ratelle, winds it around the boards, ends up in the crowd at the far side of play is called.
And Marv, on this power play so far, in the offensive zone, Jean Ratelle has lost 2 consecutive faceoffs. The Rangers in, as the Ratelle line was in earlier, on 2 line shifts ago, Ratelle again lost about 2 faceoffs. Islanders capitalizing on winning those faceoffs in their end.
On the face set back behind Billy Smith. Ratelle after the moment. Lewis works free. Comes to Park at the far side. Into the corner now. Vickers sets up. Throws in front for Smith, and he scores! Vickers flipping it in front of the net. And the puck was shot at by Fairburn, and he got it over the shoulder of Smith. And this game has turned around. 6:33 remaining third period. And the Rangers, who were trailing 3-0, now trail 3-2.
All the pressure was on the Rangers. They came back and tied it. And the play started a clear intended by the Islanders. And Brad Park stopped it, but quickly threw the puck into Vickers. Did not waste any time. Just shot it right back into Vickers, who was in the left corner. Vickers just waited. The Islanders looked at the points. Vickers waiting for Fairburn to cruise into the slot, and a beautiful pass by Steve Vickers on Fairburn's stick.
Time of the power play, Bill, 13:27 for Fairburn, second of the night, number 2 of the playoffs. You, I believe, get an idea of what is happening here at Madison Square Garden. You can hear the crowd. They are going berserk at this moment. Rangers right back in the hockey game. One of the keys, Sal, has been more ice time for Nick Beverly. He has really settled things down.
He has, Marv. He's a steady defenseman. He's even been gambling in this second period. He penetrated deep with the Middleton play. He was on the ice when Middleton drew the penalty.
Here's the faceman, pulled by the Rangers. Park to Beverly. Beverly up the center. Beverly slaps it in, left side of Billy Smith. He comes out to clear it, batted down by Gilbert at the near side. Throws to the corner to Ratelle. Ratelle stick into the foot. Score! Vickers put it in, and we're tied at 3. From in front of the net at his favorite position as he took that pass to Ratelle and a bang play. And the Rangers have tied it at 3.
And Roger Bear keeping the puck in his own. Jerry Hart tried to clear it. Gilbert batted it down at about waist level. Got it to Ratelle. And John Ratelle, so fancy, just walked out perfectly. Hodgson was unable to tie Vickers up. Vickers had an open net to put the puck into, and the Islanders have to be thinking now. It was screen. They played a terrific hockey game. The first goal that the Rangers got sparked them. The penalty on a great play by Middleton kept it going. The great pass by Vickers and a great all-around effort by the entire line to tie it up.
So the guy who really has to be thinking is goaltender Billy Smith, who was so brilliant over the first two. And now in big trouble with the Rangers on fire. They've tied it at 3. They can throw the face. Gilbert shoots in. A battle for it, tossed it out on the goal line. Vickers and Topman come together. And Topman makes the touch. We get a whistle for ice. And Gilbert shooting from his half of the ice across the goal line. We have 6 minutes, 9 seconds remaining, third period. And the Rangers and Islanders are now tied at 3-3. That second Ranger goal, Fabrin from Vickers and Park, 13:27, and 14 seconds later, it is Vickers on the face-off, controlled by the Rangers, Gilbert, and he starts up the center. Now puts it in the break. Parise all over him, pins it in. Now Bruin comes along, and they combine to freeze it, so play is stopped. Billy Fabrin from Steve Vickers and Brad Park at 13:27, and 14 seconds later, it's Vickers from Ratelle and Gilbert at 13:41. The hand for the Ratelle line as they depart.
And Bob Giacomin came up with 2 key saves when he replaced Bill Villamure at 14:04. Maybe he did spark him. I don't know. I have to say it was Billy Fabrin solo record when he busted through to score that first goal. And the fans are yelling Eddie, Eddie right now. What a hockey game. You couldn't ask for anything more climatic than this. Anticlimactic. You're getting into sudden death situation. Sudden death to eliminate a team from the playoffs.
Face-off coming up at center. Kachuk on with Irvin and Fabrin. And Marat and Kreshner are back going against the Bourne Harris Phillies line on the face-off. Marat controls. Back past Kreshner. This third period has been all Rangers. Ahead Fabrin. Fabrin slides it ahead for Kachuk. Bumped off the play. Bourne is after it. Looks to clear out. He cannot, and now does. Sends the center to Billy Harris. Cut that back at Marat Harris to the Ranger line with a slap save made by Giacomin. And you hear the roar from the crowd. Bourne keeps it alive. Back past Gillies. Gillies slides it right down to Giacomin. Marat is after it now. Marat throws it ahead for Kachuk. Kachuk up to center. Leaves Irvin on the left. He's across the out of the line. Puts on the brakes. Makes the turn. And slap wide. On the rebound. Kreshner takes it to the right point. Turns and slaps. Sticks aside by Lewis. Helms into the corner at the far side. Irvin is after him, loses to Marshall, winds it around the board. Kept in there at the near side by Fabrin, dumps it back behind the net. Wound around by Marshall, and fed all the way down by Gillies. The Islanders, desperate club right now. Once again, icing. Marat back to make the touch, and we get the whistle. We'll bring it back for a face-off, deep and out of their ice. 5 minutes, 1 second remaining. Third period. Rangers are flying. They are sparked up after trailing 3-0. After being completely outplayed over the first 2, sensational goaltending by Billy Smith. And this game has turned around. Fabrin twice and Vickers here in this third period. Face-off now coming up left side of the out of the net. Sanderson on with Polis and Middleton. On the face-off, Howard shoots it out of his own. Howard and Park come together. Beverly comes up with a puck ahead for Middleton over the skates, and it's recovered by Howard. A lead for Nystrom at the Ranger line. Back to Howard. It's off his skates, broken up by Park, and the Rangers start up. Park to center, trailed by Nystrom. A lead for Middleton. Middleton cuts to the corner around Lewis. Then Lewis stick checks it away, winds it around the board. Polis cuts it off at the far side. He and Marshall slam each other. Sanderson works free. In comes Park. He backhand save made, and it's covered up by Smith. Brad Park could not tee up that shot as he turned around. He had it on the backhand south, still able to get off a pretty good drive to create trouble in front of the net.
And Bob, the Rangers are jumping. They're all over the loose pucks. Billy Fabrin, prior to the Islanders icing it on the last opportunity, got the 3 loose pucks. This time, Greg Polis going to the loose puck. Sanderson picking up the loose puck to get it out to Park. Park having it on the backhand. It's still deflected on the way in. And another shot dropping right at Billy Smith's feet.
Face-off left side of the out of the net. 4:28 remaining, third period. Ratelle and Westfall on the draw. Loose at the circle, sent back behind the goal. Hart is there. Hart chopped at by Ratelle. Swings it around the boards, and here's Westfall up to center. Westfall then shoots in. It's to the right side of Giacomin, and he comes out to stop. Leads for Gilbert. Now Gilbert back the other way as the Rangers skate left to right. Gilbert to center. Tries to lead Ratelle. It's too deep. It's across the goal line of the Islanders. Hart bangs it off the board. Rangers keep in. Joe back off ice, but it's overskated by Vickers and intercepted by Westfall. Ahead to Druin at center. Checked off the play by Park. Sends Vickers in across the out of the line. Vickers from the angle sends in front. Ratelle is turned around, dumped on the play. Park comes in front. Smith covers up. And we got a whistle. Let's see if there's a penalty. Bruce Hood talking it over with Steve Vickers. Hood started a point, and that held off. Rangers were looking for a penalty, and nothing will be called.
Billy Smith ending up with the puck outside the crease, and I think that's what Vick is asking about. No Ranger player around. Ratelle on the ice behind the net, and Smith after recorded. I think he was aware of that too, because he doubled up as though he was in pain to sort of disguise the play.
Face-off left side of Smith. 3:51 remaining, third period. Tied up 3 on the draw. Hart goes back behind his net. Checked by Ratelle. Leaves it for Dennis Potvin. Potvin cuts to the corner, throws it in front of his net to Hart. Ahead now, Westfall. Stick handles at center, moving on Park, and shoots in. Left side of Giacomin. And he steps behind the net to stop and whips it back the other way for Vickers. Vickers shoots it out of the zone. Potvin after it along with Ratelle. They both overskate. Vickers comes up with it. He's up to the out of the line. Back pass now. Gilbert goes in, shoots wide, going for the upper left-hand corner. Goes around the board. Picked off by Westfall. Westfall, a back pass now for Hart. Great opportunity for Gilbert. Took the good shot, but it was just off the mark. Here's Hart up to center. Hart sends ahead, intended for Parise, and Gilbert intercepts. All Rangers here in the third period. They are all over the puck. Vickers now to center. He's up across the Islander line. Cross-side speed broken up by Hart. Trickles in front. Taken by Kachuk. Back pass for Fairburn, broken up, and it's picked off by Marshall. Marshall up to center ice. A lead for Billy Harris on the right. To the Ranger line. Cheeks Beverly does not go for it. Then it's sent back behind the net. Giacomin sweeps it to the far side. Marshall hit from behind by Vickers, and Kachuk puts it free. Leads a 3-man rush. 2 men back to Beverly. Beverly up to the end of the line. Back pass for Kachuk. Back the other way it goes for Greshner. Greshner cuts into the slot. He's dumped down the play. Rolls it in front. No penalty called. Rangers looking for penalty. It's not called. Escurry's closing all the way down. For those faces to fit. Emile Francis jumping up and down on the Ranger bench looking for a penalty call. And with 2:24 remaining in this third period, Sal, you get into a situation where unless someone's head is chopped off, Bruce Hood is not going to call a penalty.
Not at this particular time. Islanders have had 2 penalties already this period. What continuous action the Rangers are putting on. Continuous pressure in that Islander end. The Islanders have iced the puck at least 4 times in the last 3 or 4 minutes.
This is WNEW, Metro Radio in New York, 11:30 on the dial. 5 over with Sam Messina. And a beauty here in this third and final game of the best 2 out of 3 between the New York Rangers and the New York Islanders. What will go down as a memorable series. Tied at 3 right here. On the face, Fairburn backhands it blocked. Taken off by Harris of the Islanders. Sends to center, and it's intercepted by Marat. Back skates to the Ranger line. Ahead of Harris to Greshner. Greshner shoots in. Left side of the Islander net. Billy Smith makes the stick stop and leaves for Lewis. He's checked behind the goal. Back to shoot. Winds it around now for Bourne. Bourne loses to Fairburn. Fairburn looks to set up. Puts in front. Knocked away. Shot on goal by Kachuk. Goes wide. And Billy Harris picks up the loose puck. Harris to center. Harris up to the Ranger line. Harris cuts left. Checked by Greshner, and Kachuk comes up with the puck. Kachuk spinning. A drop for Fairburn. Fairburn to center. Hit from behind by Bourne. A lead for Irvin and across the Islander line. Comes to the goal line. He's checked down the play by Marshall. A battle in front between Fairburn and Hart as Marshall works it free. Winds it around the boards. 1.5 remaining third period. Bourne after it at center, but he is stopped by Greshner. Greshner works it free. He's dumped on the play. No penalty call. Ratelle takes it away. Back pass below up. Sends to Vickers. Vickers in across the out of the line. Loses on a stick check. And Vickers back for it now as he comes back to the Ranger line. Ahead intended for Marat, intercepted by Marshall. Leads Parise. Parise checked by Greshner. Sends it ahead though for Druin. Druin breaks in. Loses on a stick check to Marat. Druin takes it back. Tries to wheel it around the boards, but it's broken up by Vickers with 1 minute remaining in the third period. Ratelle to center. Late Gilbert. Gilbert in across the out of the line. Back pass. Vickers goes in. Shoots. Stick save made by Smith. On that front that was right on. Off the stick of Steve Vickers. Now Parise to center. Ahead it goes to Druin. Druin pass intercepted by Beverly. Beverly banks it off the boards. Then Potvin takes it back. 40 seconds remaining third period. Tied at 3. Ahead for Hart. And he dumps it in. Picked off by Druin. A lead for Westfall. It's too deep. Westfall recovers at the side of the Ranger net. Looks to center. It's knocked away. We get a whistle as the puck is pinned in at the far side. And play is stopped. And it's back. with 32 seconds remaining. This is sudden death, Sal, because we're tied at 3. Face-off coming up now deep in Ranger ice. Of course, if they conclude at 3-3, we will go to a true sudden death overtime.
Emile Francis putting Derek Sanderson out. The face-off is in the Ranger end. He was his best face-off man there. The crowd chanting, Eddie. This is a big face-off right now for the Rangers. They can win it, take control of the puck.
It'll be Andre St. Laurent for the Islanders. Derek Sanderson turned the Rangers facing left side of Ed Giacomin. The linesman, Ray Scapanello, drops it. Loose at the far side. Picked off by the Islanders. St. Laurent drives it in front. Knocked away by Giacomin out of the stick of Park. 25 seconds remaining. Park ahead for Sanderson. Sanderson to center. Leads Butler. But the pass after that carries all the way down across the goal line to Eisenberg. Butler gets it off to Sanderson with 15 seconds. Looks to get it to Park at the right point. Broken up by Howard. 10 seconds remaining. Howard shoots it out to center to Nystrom. Nystrom checked down the play by Urban and knocks it free with 5 seconds. He's to the out of the line. The loses control. Dennis Potvin ahead for Howard. Howard at the Ranger line. Breaks wide as the buzzer sounds. And that's the end of the third period. And we're going to overtime. We're going to overtime. We'll have the usual 15-minute intermission. And then on to overtime with the Rangers coming from behind, trailing 3-0, scoring 3 times in this third period to tie it up. So at the end of 3, the score, the Rangers 3, the Islanders 3. We'll be back in a moment.
Now here's a word from America's oldest lager beer. Did you know that the Schaefer people are the oldest and most experienced lager brewers in America? It takes experience to brew any fine beer, but it's taken a little bit more experience to brew Schaefer, the one beer fine enough to give you flavor that never fades. If you'd like to experience the result of all that brewing experience, all you got to do is give a couple of frosty cold Schaefers a try.
One more time. Schaefer is the one beer I have when you're
The F&M Schaefer Brewing Company, New York, New York. In the third period, all Rangers, they outshot the Islanders 14-4. And overall, after 3 periods, Rangers with 30 shots at Billy Smith. And the Islanders with 25 at the combination of Joe Villamure and Ed Giacomin. Giacomin came on for Villamure at 14:04 of the second period. And Eddie all sparked up. No question about it. Had much to do with the Rangers turning it around. And coming from the 3-zip deficit to tie it at 3. In the third period, it was Fairbairn on a tremendous individual effort, starting at the center ice, the deep part of center ice, and he cut through the entire Islander squad and was able to beat Billy Smith. Tremendous individual effort. Fairbairn from Kachuk and Greshner at 4:44, and then on a power play with Hardoff for hooking at 12:47. Fairbairn again set up by Vickers and Clark, 13:27. And then only 14 seconds later, at 13:41, Ratelle put it in front for Vickers and he slammed it home past Smith. So it was Vickers from Ratelle until there at 13:41. Penalties in the second. Howard for a trip at 1:39, and then Hart for hooking at 12:47. So the Rangers and the Islanders are tied at 3-3. We have the customary intermission period. And Sal, right on the button on the subject of that very hot penalty when he was hit with the hook at 12:47. The Rangers were down 3-1, and if there was any shot at all of the Rangers coming back, as you said, it would have to be then. And as we look back now, that is the situation.
That's right, Bob. I see Dunk Wilson. I located Dunk. We're going to have him on in between the second and third. Second and third, Bob, running around to get somebody. And old Dunk Wilson, the old goaltender, he was on the pregame show. He's on after the game. How can we ask?
I don't know what Dunk is going to do with all these Sonys and gift certificates that he is collecting. Duck almost ended his goaltending career just now and climbing back into our broadcast location. We are tied at 3. We will go to overtime. Rangers and Islanders at 3-3, and Sal will be talking with Ranger goaltender Dunk Wilson in just a moment. A look at the scoreboard. Chicago beat Boston 6-4, so they take that series 2-1. Later tonight, Toronto at L.A. They are underway in the first period, and we don't have anything to report on as of yet. That series tied 1-1, and of course, Pittsburgh to St. Louis 2-0. ABA playoffs in St. Louis. The Nets over the Spirits 113-108. Let me double check on that score. We'll have to check that out. After 3, Memphis 79, Kentucky 70. I have to check that score out because we have a discrepancy, and I see it the other way around on another part of the sheet. Utah leading Denver 103-75 after 3. We'll be back right after this word.
Does this boat go up Madison Avenue?
That's what the sign says, lady.
One Margaret Martin on a bus ride she'd rather not take.
Move to the rear of the bus, please. Come on.
She's spending half her lunch hour and half her lunch money going to the bank to put money in her savings account. Little did she realize that she can save at a bank right around the corner. Manufacturers Hanover.
Oh, my foot.
They not only offer high interest, they offer a lot more. They have over 170 branches, so she can have close to that job, close to her home, close to wherever she happens to be. She can make deposits wherever the spirit moves. She can have a checking account to go with her savings account, and a card that lets her cash her check at any Manufacturers Hanover branch. If Margaret Martin saved at Manufacturers Hanover, she could spend her lunch hour having lunch.
Look at that traffic. I'll never get back to work on time.
Manufacturers Hanover. It's banking the way you want it to be. Member FDIC.
Down the street and back at Madison Square Garden. Regulation time over. The score, Rangers 3, Islanders 3. Islanders with a 3-0 lead coming into the third period. The Rangers with 3 goals, 2 by Billy Fairburn, 1 by Steve Vickers. The last 2 coming 14 seconds apart to tie the hockey game. And my guest, Dunk Wilson. Dunk, did you ever see a period like that in all your years of hockey? If you did, tell me, but that surpassed any I've ever seen.
Only in my first year pro. We tied one up in the 5th game of first quarterfinals. 1 second to go in the game and beat them in overtime. But this one here is a lot different. This is for more money. And to come back from 3 goals when the Islanders were sort of controlling things, it looked like, I'll tell you, my heart's just going about 180 a minute right now. It's just amazing. I'm just, what can you say? It's, I think one of the greatest periods of hockey I've ever seen. We controlled. Eddie came in, I think the one thing he did when he got in there, when he came in and started that fight, maybe he had to get himself into the game after sitting on the bench. Maybe loosen one of the guys up. They figured, well, we'll get the old adrenaline going and let's go from here. And it was in between periods there, and everybody seemed wired, and let's go, and we got nothing to lose because we don't want to go golfing next week. So everybody's out there giving the best shot. And, well, we got momentum going for us now, so just keep our fingers crossed and let's hope we can go the same way.
Doug, we talked on the broadcast about describing the game. You look at turning points. Maybe a couple of good saves Giacomin made right after he went in there. He made a good kick save on a shot from the point, and then Nystrom, I think, was all alone on it. And Billy Fairburn skating through the entire Islanders team to score that goal. What do you say is the one thing that maybe turned them around?
Well, I think actually the turning point of the game, in my opinion, well, being a goaltender maybe, was the deal that Eddie got into. Now, you've got to give Eddie a lot of credit for that, as I was just saying before. He's got to get himself in the game. When you see a goaltender in trouble, everybody gets a little excited because they don't want their man hurt. I think those 2 goals right off the bat, I knew as soon as those happened, we had a lot of time left for 1 goal. We had the pressure on the whole time. The turning point was maybe the constant pressure we had on Smith all night. He played excellent hockey. You can't take anything away from Billy Smith. But once we got those 2 goals, you could see the Islanders, maybe with their inexperience, they started to run around a bit, lose their cool, and that's what happened. Because of our experience, maybe we're in the right spot at the right time, and thank God we tied it up.
Doug, on the power play the Rangers had, there was 7:15 or 7:13, I guess, left on the clock when the Rangers had that power play. I mentioned that they had a score then. But Vickers making the pass to Fairburn. There was a play where he just sort of just waited. But Brad Park threw the puck into him right away as soon as he got it out at the point rather than shooting. What would you rather have, as a goaltender, you'd rather take that quick shot in a situation like that, or do you think I thought Brad made a super play by doing that, by giving the puck to Vickers right away?
Oh, there's no doubt about it. I mean, Brad was to shoot. At least the goaltender can see what's happening. And when the puck has come in like it has, you don't know where the late men are because, as you say, you have to watch the puck. So Smith is playing the puck right. He's playing Stevie. He doesn't know what's going on behind him unless he's got a third eye, which we don't know about. But, of course, by the time he looks over, it's too late. The puck's already in the net. Now that Billy Fairburn made a great play because he picked it out of the air and put it right up in the top shelf. I mean, it was just a great play by Billy. He's been having a great series. He scored a couple last night, too. And that's things like this that I'm saying. Like, it's just that experience. Maybe a little bit extra now with our momentum, who knows. But it's a funny thing. In overtime games I've played in and seen, it's usually not a very good goal that wins overtime games. It's going to be a funny one. Who knows? Rebound or a kick in there, deflection or something. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens. I don't know. I'm just so charged right now, so I don't know. I'm almost lost for words, at this time. I just pray, sort of that things happen right for us.
You talk about overtime goals. Last year, the Rangers were involved in the first game of the quarterfinals in Montreal, and Ron Harris just put in a shot right off the point, right off the faceoff. Stemkowski to Harris, and boom, past the Michel Larocque. And a couple of years back, exactly what year, Peter Stemkowski won a game here that went into second overtime. That ended up at 11:59 on the clock. Now that game started at 7 o'clock, I believe, or 7:30. But you talk about the weird goals, or those two that I can recall were good goals. How about yourself, involved in any overtime periods? Have you had any fluke score on you, or maybe by your team?
Well, I've been sort of fortunate. The only time that I've played any overtime goals, been in a situation where overtime goals were scored by our team. So I know the one big one time when I was playing with Quebec, we scored with 1 second to go to tie it up, and the goal that was scored against was just a flip-in shot, a weird bounce that went by under Ratelle. And it's just one of those things that happen. I think maybe with Eddie, he's going to be here tonight. He's got the little maybe experience thing on now. Billy Smith's a little down himself. You could see him when they scored the third goal, he didn't get up. He's got to be feeling some kind of tension, The momentum is going for us, but who knows? I don't know. What can you say, Sal? We'll find out very shortly. And I don't want to stay here all night. I like to get back and just get ready for whatever's going to happen from now on. But I guess we won't know that till later on. But I think the boys will come through.
The Rangers defenseman Nick Beverly came on to play the third period. Nick, a man who hasn't been given credit throughout the season. He's just a quiet player, just unassuming, does his job. He was a goaltender, I'm sure, noticed many of the fine things that Nick Beverly does.
Well, I've known Nick for a long time. I played junior with Nick at one point, and as you say, he's quite an unassuming man. He goes out, he does his job. He's quite underrated. I mean, if you're going to trade a fellow away like Vic Hatfield from New York, the scouts have to know what's going on. They know that Nick Beverly is not just a poor hockey player. They know he has something going. Nick played very well that period. He helped us get us going. And what can you say about Ronnie Greshner? He's a 20-year-old kid who's out there like he's been around here for 20 years. He forced the puck. He kept it in a couple times. I think the thing that is the key to the third period for us was our corner work. We just beat them to the puck all the time. We got hungry. It was something we weren't really doing all that well in the first two periods. And the way it's going now, this is the way it's happening. I think we'll be strong in the corners again, and I think it'll work out good for us. That's all I can say. Plus the defensemen, we're getting the puck up and keeping it in there. We've always got a man coming back now. It seems that everything is going so well. It's hard to believe that we can't win this game.
Do you think the Ranger defensemen will be going in as deep in the offensive zone as they did in the third period, now that it's a tie hockey game rather than trying to come from behind?
Well, I think they will. I can't see them sitting back and trying to play sort of kiddie bar the door hockey and hope for an open break, because that's going to give the Iowans a chance to regroup maybe. We've got the pressure on them right now. We've got everything going for us, the sight, the advantage over them in that. So I think you've got to go, in overtime you have to go all out, because you just don't make any mistakes. If you do, the game's over. You just got to keep going and plugging and hoping you can get the first shot on net, because who knows? The most shots sometimes I remember in Pee-wee hockey. It was decided by most shots on net. So you have to go all out. In overtime, there's no second chance. You just have to keep going and hope something works out for you. And I think we'll be going right off the bat. I think the cattle say, "Where you go, boys? You got nothing to lose. Up to you, and let's go."
Doug Wilson, thanks very much for coming up here. I'm glad we corralled you to come up in this during the third period and the overtime.
Okay, thanks. All I got to do is walk into the corridor, pal, and hope I hear the good cheer. You getting a lot of work on radio.
Bob, both clubs will be back on in just a moment. The officials have hit the ice as we prepare to go to sudden death overtime. 30 minutes or less. Upcoming in just a moment with the Rangers and the Islanders tied at 3-3. And all the cheering we've been hearing tonight, I have to say the crowd is really enjoying themselves. I bet a lot of these folks are just naturally cheerful. They'll probably wake up cheerful tomorrow. That is, if they get a good night's sleep. And you know that is hard to get if you happen to go to bed with a headache and can't sleep. The answer, take Excedrin PM, the nighttime pain reliever. Excedrin PM relieves headache and extension, helps you relax for a good night's sleep, so you should wake up feeling refreshed with no grogginess. Of course, you take Excedrin PM only as directed. And imagine feeling that good in the morning, even if you have a headache tonight. Excedrin PM. We'll be back in a moment.
Alka-Seltzer brings you a message from the old one, too.
So you're in the car, and Daredevil Jerry's at the wheel. Just close your eyes. Try to forget those lumpy pancakes in your stomach. We'll be right there with the Alka-Seltzer. Let's get out of here.
For aches and pains with upset stomach, use Alka-Seltzer with specially buffered aspirin plus antacids. Only as directed. It's the old one, too. The old one.
Marv Albert with Sal Messina back at Madison Square Garden. Now we have that score straightened out. St. Louis Spirits beat the New York Nets 113-108, and in a surprise, the Spirits have moved in front of the New York Nets 2-1. Rangers and Islanders are back on, and Giacomin will be to our right, and Smith to our left side.
Oh, when you talk about sudden death in a hockey game, this is sudden death in a series.
So extra pressure, at least if it were just a playoff game, or this is a playoff game, but if it was an early round or early game in a 7-game series, say, you still have the next game to come back after you're defeated. This one, the team who scores the first goal goes on to play whomever, and we'll work that out if it's at the end of the hockey game. The team that is scored upon goes home to the next training camp in September.
It'll be John Ratelle and Drew Druin on this opening face-off at center ice. Pressure-packed hockey right now. Rangers will stand right to left. Islanders left to right. The referee Verso drops the puck, and on the draw, it is taken by Bert Marshall. Cross ice, Dave Lewis shoots in. Left side of Giacomin. Vickers chases down on the corner. Loses control. Druin shoots a quick score! It's deflected in by Parise from in front of the net. And the Islanders in overtime in the first 11 seconds have defeated the New York Rangers by the score of 4-3. And the Islanders are on the ice, pounding each other. They have come up with a tremendous upset victory over the New York Rangers. And this game has just concluded to quiet the crowd here at Madison Square Garden. And that is most unusual, Sal. When you go to overtime, you do not expect that type of ending. And for the Rangers, it has to be embarrassing. They did come from behind. They were trailing 3-0. They were able to tie it at 3-3. But the embarrassment is in facing the New York Islanders. For the first time in playoff competition, they are able to come away with the victory in this playoff series 2-1, and they do it on a goal by Parise at the 11-second mark.
And a great hustling play by Jude Druin to go into that corner. He and Vickers went in. Vickers not playing the bounce off the boards right. Druin got it and threw it in front. Islanders win it, Marv, and really dejected Ranger Hockey Club skating off the ice right now. They're making the shaking hands out at the center ice as they customarily do on a playoff series. Islanders, wow, they are a happy bunch right now.
And they should be, because when you consider the fact that they were so severely outplayed in the third period, that all momentum going the Ranger way, trailing 3-0. Coming back to tie it at 3-3 on the 2 goals by Fairburn and the 1 goal by Vickers. It was Rangers all the way in the 3rd. And before you turn around, puck drop. Islanders take the face-off. Bruin digging it out of the corner, flipping it in front of the net, and J.P. Parise, who was punched in front of the net, was able to jam it past Giacomin. And folks, that's the story for the 74-75 season for the New York Rangers.
Brad Clark was the man doing the crunching. The Rangers down 3-0 coming into the 3rd period. Fought back to tie it, and they could have won it, Bob. They had some opportunities late in the hockey game. They had the Islanders on the ropes, did not capitalize, and you could say that 15-minute time composed the Islanders, settled them down, gave them time to regroup themselves. They came out strong. They won the face-off, shot it in, Druin going in, winning the race for the puck and throwing it out in front.
And as you look back at the 74-75 season for the Rangers, Sal, it has to be termed a huge disappointment.
It does, Bob. They had the players at training camp, and they were very, very optimistic. They did run into some injuries. They just eked out on the next to the last day of the season when the Islanders lost to Philadelphia on a Saturday night. They clinched 2nd place. They could not win the game on Sunday night, which would have put them actually ahead of Pittsburgh, as Pittsburgh also lost. Tying with the Islanders for 2nd place. The Islanders in their 3rd season. The Rangers an established hockey club. Now in the playoffs, they lose 2 games on their home ice. And you think about it, those last 2 weeks of the season, Rangers were fighting for their playoff slide and also for home ice advantage, which meant absolutely nothing in this 2 out of 3 series.
And really, when you look over the last several weeks of the season, the Rangers were not an injured hockey club. The only injured player was Dell. Well, Dell was missed. Defense was the problem with this team. They were an in-and-out hockey club. They rarely won big games, particularly down the stretch. They did not beat the quality teams. They were hoping to rescue the season with a good performance during the playoffs. And, of course, had they done well in the playoffs, people would forget about the regular season. As it turns out, the Rangers are eliminated in this opening round, and now people will not forget about the regular season.
Emile Francis started rebuilding this year with, of course, Breshner being brought up after Sealing was traded. Rick Middleton given the opportunity to play. He missed quite a few games because of an injury. These are young players of the future. I know Dave Maloney had a fairly successful year down in Providence. He's the #1 draft choice of the Rangers, an 18-year-old underage junior. However, he got a couple of injuries throughout the season with Providence, and Emile Francis is a little concerned about him being susceptible to injury.
Did they ever announce that last goal? I don't think so.
Parise and Druin, but one of the Islander defensemen actually shot the puck in. I guess they could have credited an assist to him, but right now, something that the Islanders aren't even worried about.
We are calling it unofficially from our vantage point. Parise, the goal scorer from Druin at the 11-second mark, but it was never officially announced. Still on the board is the final score. Rangers 3, 19:49 remaining in the game, which indicates that the goal was scored at the 11-second mark, and Islanders 4. And that's the story in sudden death overtime. And coincidentally, Norm McLean of the Rangers staff dropped by to point out that back in 1937, in the days of the rivalry of the old New York Americans and the New York Rangers, in a upset in overtime, in fact, in the 3rd overtime, the Americans won a best 2 out of 3 playoff series by the score of 3-2. And that's rather ironic, really.
Islanders didn't wait 3 overtimes, however, just 11 seconds. Really unbelievable. Nobody, I bet many people missed it coming back to sit in their seats or going for refreshments between periods. By the time they got back to their seats, that goal was scored.
Okay, that final score once again. Sal will be upcoming with a complete wrap-up on the post-game show. In sudden death overtime, the New York Rangers season has ended. The New York Islanders beating the New York Rangers by the score of 4-3. Now the Islanders will open up on Sunday. And let's see what the situation is right now. Chicago has defeated Boston 6-4. The Islanders will open up the best 4 out of 7 series this Sunday against?
Very good, Marv. They will not play Buffalo.
All right.
All right. They will play Montreal if L.A. wins. In Montreal, they will play Pittsburgh if Toronto wins that game between Toronto and L.A. out on the West Coast.
So they will not know who or when will be playing until the competition tonight is concluded. Toronto playing at L.A. this evening, and that's the game that they must look at.
That's right, Marv, and of course they can't make their arrangements until about 3 o'clock in the morning when that score comes in, starting at about 11 o'clock our time. Well, it started an hour ago.
Chicago with that upset over Boston 6-4 at the start of this 1974-75 National Hockey League season. Not too many people would have figured that the Boston Bruins and the New York Rangers would be eliminated in what has to be considered the preliminary rounds of the playoffs. Incredible.
Bobby Orr going home early. Unbelievable.
Along with his Boston Bruins and, of course, the New York Rangers. I see the president of the New York Islanders, Roy Bowe, a very happy man to our left. And he's got to figure out what travel plans will be the next couple of days. Really incredible. And for Islander fans, we suggest, as we have the last couple of weeks, where the possibilities have been up in the air, check your local newspapers tomorrow, and you'll know where the New York Islanders will be playing on Sunday as they open up their playoff series. Well, that's about it. Tonight's game brought to you by Schaefer Beer, by Bristol Myers, makers of Ultraman Super Dry, by Miles Laboratories, makers of Alka-Seltzer, and by American Motors. Thanks to our engineer, Joe Aiello, our statistician, the Bullet, Bob Meyer. As far as our Nick and Ranger play-by-play broadcasts are concerned here on WNEW, if the Knicks can beat the Rockets in Houston tomorrow afternoon, we'll be talking from Boston on Monday night to bring you game number 1 of the New York Knicks and the Boston Celtics. If the Rockets beat the Knicks tomorrow afternoon, we have concluded our winter spring play-by-play schedule. Sal, again, despite all your personal problems, as I pointed out at the start of the year, I'd like to work with you, and I know that you'll be feeling better in a couple of days when all the pressure is lifted.
Bob, it's always a pleasure working with you.
We've had our fun throughout the year.
A couple of things I meant, a couple of things I kidded about.
For Sal Messina, this is Marv Albert for Madison Square Garden. Now for the postgame, here's Sal.
Thank you, Marv. Tonight, a disappointing night for the New York Rangers and a very, very happy night for the New York Islanders. The Islanders, in their 3rd year of playing the National Hockey League, defeating the New York Rangers 4-3 at 11 seconds of the first overtime period. Islanders winning the preliminary round 2 games to 1, and they will go on to meet either Buffalo or Pittsburgh on Sunday in the quarterfinal round for their first actual appearance. Great game tonight, fantastic, as you would say. The Islanders and Rangers, Billy Smith inserted in goal by Coach Al Arbor, played stupendously in the first period. It was spectacular saves by Smith throughout. And as Jack Riley, a scout for the Pittsburgh Penguins and their former general manager, said, Smith kept them in the hockey game in the first period, and a goaltender does that for a team. And Billy was called upon to make 15 saves. Gilles Villemure, who started in goal for the Rangers, was called upon to make 8. Clark Gillies, the first goal for the Islanders, his 2nd goal of the playoffs, coming at the 16-minute mark, assisted by Bob Bourne and Burt Marshall. Marshall stopping the puck on his end, giving it to Bourne. A 3-on-2 develop. Bourne to Gillies going in the left side, and Gillies shooting it between goaltender Gilles Villemure's legs. And the Islanders led 1-0, although the Rangers outplayed the Islanders in that first period. In the second period, Dennis Potvin scoring his first goal of the playoff series at 8:26 on a power play. He making the play along the corner, outskating both Billy Fairburn and Ron Harris for the puck, giving it to Nystrom. Nystrom fed it out to brother Jean Potvin at the right point. John shooting it in, Dennis deflecting it. Islanders leading 2-0. And at 12:51, Dennis Potvin, a shorthanded goal, assisted by Lord Henning. Dennis Potvin taking the pass from Henning, going in on Villemure for about 30 feet out, and he also shot the puck trickling through Villemure's legs. Islanders leading 3-0. And at that point, after Villemure, not at that point, but after Villemure made a couple of saves in front of the Ranger net, he got up a little shaky. Villemure did hurt his right knee last night. He was replaced by Eddie Giacomin at the 14:04 mark. Now, penalties in that second period. Howard for holding for the Islanders at 3:36. And Billy Faber and Dennis Potvin both picked up charging penalties at 5:08. Greshner a trip at 6:30. Hart for holding at 11:32. Then Butler and Lewis picking up 7 minutes for roughing and fighting. Billy Harris for slashing. Then what people said was a turning point. Gary Howard, Eddie Giacomin picking up penalties. Giacomin 2 minutes for roughing and 2 minutes for cross-checking. Gary Howard a roughing penalty. Giacomin a couple of good saves when he replaced Villemure. Stepnowski picked up the third man in game misconduct on that play and was out for the remainder of the game. Scoring stood that way, 3-0 Islanders at the end of the second period. And the Rangers still had to kill off the penalty, the second penalty to Giacomin early in the third period. Billy Faber at 4:44, skating through the entire team after picking up the passes from Kachuk and Greshner. Deked Billy Smith, and that made the score 3-1 Islanders. The Rangers coming to within 2 goals. Howard a tripping penalty at 1:39. Hart a penalty at 12:47. And at that time we stated the Rangers were going to come back. They had to score on that power play opportunity. Again, Billy Faber. Bradshaw keeping the puck in at the point, throwing it quickly to Vickers. Vickers waiting. Faber just moved into the left of Smith. And Vickers a beautiful pass. Faber and throw it up top. 3-2 Islanders. Then just 14 seconds later, Steve Vickers, after Ratelle and Gilbert worked the puck in, keeping it in, throwing it to Ratelle in the corner. Ratelle working it out to Vickers, who stood to the right of Smith. Vickers put it in, tying the game up 3-3, and the Rangers, with many opportunities, seemed to have the Islanders on the ropes. However, they could not put it away, and the game went into overtime. Shots on goal. Regulation play. The Rangers had 39. The Islanders had 25. The Rangers had 40. The Islanders had 25. Then at the 11-second mark, the face-off. Druin beating Ratelle to the face-off. Potvin shooting it in. It deflected off a Ranger player on the way in. Eliminating the icing call. Vickers going in. Getting his stick on it. Tricky hop. Throwing that the puck. Threw it right into the crease of Parise. Just put it into the net. And the Islanders win the hockey game and the series 2-1. The hockey game 4-3. And for the Rangers, that about wraps it up. They're out. They have to look to training camp next year. They started rebuilding this year. There's a possibility they may have some more younger players up next year. I know Jerry Howland had a good year in Providence. Maloney, Dave Maloney, their rookie defenseman, aside from a couple of injuries he did incur, also showed signs. Elsewhere in the National Hockey League preliminary rounds of the Stanley Cup playoffs, the Chicago Blackhawks, after being defeated by Boston 8-2 on Tuesday night, won a game in overtime, 4-3 on Thursday, and tonight in Boston, defeating the Boston Bruins 6-4 to take that series. And a surprise, and Coach Billy Ray had his Blackhawks moving, and a tough hockey club. However, an unofficial report, the statistics, shots on goal, Boston had 51, Chicago 18. I'll have to see that officially. It's something that was thrown around up in the press box between periods. By the way, that goal by Parise to give the Islanders a 4-3 victory was an NHL record for the fastest overtime goal ever. Islanders a happy group. They win the hockey game and the series. The hockey game, as they said, 4-3, and the series 2-1. Later on tonight, Toronto is at LA. Now, the Islanders from here have 2 possible opponents, so depending upon that Toronto at LA game. And the shape-ups will go as follows. Should LA win that game, the Islanders will play against Montreal. It would be Philadelphia against Chicago. Pittsburgh against Vancouver. Bobby Pepper against Vancouver. Got to figure this one out as we go along. And LA would also be in. With the other victor of the series would be against Pittsburgh. Now, I would say Philadelphia, Chicago, LA, Pittsburgh, Buffalo, Vancouver, Islanders, Montreal. There would be a change if Toronto should win that game. Toronto would slip in. they would drop to the bottom spot, and it would change the entire picture. However, just from the Islanders' point of view, they either play Montreal, LA wins, or play Pittsburgh if Toronto wins. Other scores in the NBA playoffs resume tomorrow. Knicks at Houston, the third and final game. WNEW airtime at 1:20. In the ABA playoffs, St. Louis taking a 2-1 lead over the New York Nets. In the playoffs, they beat the Nets tonight in St. Louis, 113-108. Third quarter score, Memphis over Kentucky, 79-70. The Colonels lead that series 3-0. The final score, third quarter score, Utah 103, Denver 75. Denver leading in that series 2-1. Well, that about does it for the Rangers season and our season. It was a pleasure bringing these games to you. Stay tuned to tomorrow. The Knicks at Houston, the third and final game of their 2 out of 3 series. WNEW airtime at 1:20. Stay tuned for the Nightmare, Bill Hickok, on WNEW Metro Media Radio in New York.
Tommy to the belt. He delivers, and Torres looks at this one just high, a slider, and it's even at 1-1. A ball of strike to Hector Torres, hitting in Glenn Beckert's spot in the Padre lineup. Ball's 1-1 delivery. Fastball high and outside. Now it goes 2-1. Hall checking in with bench. And the stretch. And the 2-1 on the way. That's strike 2 call as he gets the outside corner with a fastball. Count even now at 2-2. Hector last year was at Hawaii, the Pacific Coast League. He swings and lines one up the middle. Cheney, a nice stop, flips to second and not foul.